There we go. We are live across the board. Welcome in everybody on YouTube, on X, on Rumble. And we are back, guys, with another live stream. We're going to continue to live stream these spaces. And, of course, Aster's the topic of discussion. Saga, what's going on, man? How you doing? What are you trading? What are you looking at right now?
Well, I hate to say it. I ended up getting liquidated on my Solana long last night. So I learned a valuable lesson, and I'm going to practice paper trading probably before I get back into leverage again. What am I trading?
Gotcha, man. Sorry, I was
What am I
trading?
trading? So I learned a valuable. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
That was weird. I got a mad echo for a second. Can you guys hear me okay?
Gotcha, man. Sorry, I was putting you on my computer.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. I actually picked up some more pudgy penguins yesterday. I don't know. Like, I know they're all over Korea blockchain really well this cycle. So why not fill your bag?
Yeah, man. Sorry about that. I just had a couple technical things, and it gets weird when I'm hooking everything up to the mics and everything. But we should be ready to go. We should be good to go. Anybody listening on YouTube, on X, let me know that you guys are all good, can hear me okay. Just want to get that out of the way. But yeah, man. We'll see what kind of happens today out of Korea blockchain. I am expecting to see some more news, but all in all, I think what's interesting, just to come back to this Aster stuff for a little bit and talk more kind of macro about it, right? It's interesting because we see this all the time play out in crypto in terms of like what are the hot narratives, right? What are like the main things that are kind of like drawing all the attention? And it feels like we're in this perp DEX era, perpetual DEX era, right? And it's kind of funny. I put out a post yesterday. It's kind of funny to think like, Hyperliquid was going to be the only big player here. We knew that there was going to be some other big players coming in, and crypto is a copycat league. It really is. And when one thing works, people chase it, right? Think about pump.fun and then bonk.fun, right? Bonk was like, oh, they did that. We can come in here and do the same thing and utilize our community and fill in a couple gaps and do things just slightly different, right? That's what Aster's doing here against Hyperliquid. And CZ 2 hours ago says, whoa, now everyone wants to be a perp DEX. More players will grow the market size faster. Rising tides lift all boats. Long term, the builders win. DYOR perp DEX era. And I think he's spot on. And I think, I just put out a post too. I'll throw it up in the nest too. The perp DEX era is here. This reminds me of the number of hot narratives that have all played out over the last 5 years. NFTs, AI crypto, DeFi, gaming, right? And you got to jump on board. When you see these sort of shifts happen in the market, you've got to be nimble and you got to be able to adapt. If you're going to be an active investor in crypto and do well, you've got to be able to adapt. Period, right? If you stay stuck in the mud on one thing or the other, you're going to get left behind. This space moves too fast. And I think it's just another reminder of that. And, I mentioned, follow the money and make your plays. Aster reminds me of Solana last cycle already. Solana just kept going up and did a 100x. Aster DEX looks like it could go from 8 cents to $8. And that too would be a 100x. It's kind of crazy when you break it down and look at it. But let me kick it over to Tyler. Tyler's up here. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? I am just curious what your thoughts were on Jerome Powell's talk yesterday. I thought it was, it seems like it was kind of like the same stuff, but I felt like in the girl asking the questions, it's like she was like, her questions kind of sucked. I felt like it was like, this isn't Sam Altman. Why are you asking about AI? Like, ask about like the economy and stuff. I don't know. That's just what I thought. That's honestly, I was just getting other people's thoughts on that yesterday and what they thought.
I thought there were some mixed signals for sure. I think one of the things that I liked that came out of it was the fact that he talked about tariffs in a good way, saying, "Hey, you know what? They're not actually impacting consumer inflation as much as we thought that the tariffs would." And that's the first time he's kind of shifted that stance. He's always kind of used tariffs as a cop out as to why he was holding steady and not cutting rates. So I thought that was a good thing. Obviously, we got
Yeah.
the interest rate cut already, and I think honestly, from what I gathered, I think it's much of the same. I think we're going to get at least one more cut, maybe two before the end of the year, and I think they're going to be slow cuts. I think they're going to be 25 basis points. So really, my opinion didn't change in terms of hearing Powell yesterday. Nothing was that crazy or out of left field for me, at least, and at least for the crypto space. I don't know if anybody else
Yeah,
had thoughts, but
I would agree. I just thought it was like, I don't know, just the questions were just very vague and boring. Like, oh, what are you doing after the meeting? Like,
yeah, nobody cares.
I don't care what Jerome Powell's doing. He can go ride his tricycle for all I care. I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
it's just kind of funny.
no, I'm with you. I'm with you. But yeah, man. I mean, I think a lot of it is just kind of jargon, and you gotta. What was the Marshawn Lynch kind of thing? I'm just here so I don't get fined, right? It kind of reminds me of that. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff and say a bunch of words and not tell you much at all. And I think just that classic political jargon a lot of times. But I thought the tariff comment was pretty solid. The fact that he didn't think that was causing a lot of consumer inflation like he thought it would early. But yeah, Ben, what's going on, man? What's happening?
What's up? What's up? Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Yeah, not too much other, not really too much to talk about in the markets other than Aster. I guess I'll just bring it back there. But yeah, a lot of people are saying, so like a week ago, we thought the good timing CZ was launching this was, front run in October, November. Now everyone's saying the good time is because literally nothing else in the market is pumping. It is just so goddamn slow in the market. So it's kind of perfect. Just people have like no distractions, no other coins get much, nothing else really rising that much. We'll probably get a bunch of new developments after these conferences in 1 week or two. But right now, the last week, the timing has just been impeccably kind of like back in 2017. I know you were saying this rise sort of reminded you of Solana, and that's definitely true. And then for me, it kind of reminded me of the initial BNB and Binance rise in like late 2017. I remember BNB, the token came out, no one had heard of this entity, Binance or CZ. Just started rising and rising and eventually got up to number 15 in terms of total market cap on coinmarketcap.com. Now it's number 5. But yeah, similar rise in that. So I looked it up further. So he launched Binance and BNB in July 2017. So that timing could not have been more perfect. Bitcoin was at $2,000, $3,000. Less than 6 months later, it was at $19,000. So you hope that, CZ is the master of the timing, and he kind of impeccably timed this during a slow time right now, but we will gradually ramp up. That's, obviously he has a great record with timing, so we shall see about that. And then, yeah, I think he went with the Perp DEX. I looked this up a little more. So a lot of people don't know this, but Hyperliquid has only been around for less than 1 year. It was launched last November, so about 10 months ago. So that had a similar rise to Binance back in the day. Hyperliquid has gone from 0 to $15 billion market cap in less than 1 year. So obviously CZCs, okay, Perp DEXs, that's the hot sector at the moment, so that's what I'm going to go, and I don't really think it went too much beyond that right there. So yeah, that's good, and then it makes you wonder. So it's is it kind of so is Aster sort of taking liquidity away from other projects? It seems like a lot of people who are aimed into like 1 or 2 projects, they're putting money into Aster. A lot of people with like heavy wallets, a lot of mini whales. It seems like a lot of savvier, smarter traders are the ones going into Aster right now. The people who only ape like 1 to 2 coins. 1 or 2 coins a year or so like that, as opposed to people aping something new every single day. What else do we have here? Sam Bankman-Fried, and we saw he came back to life last night, or somebody else was tweeting from his account. I don't think that was coincident timing. I'm assuming he obviously sees, okay, CZ's kind of come back. His big rival has been hugely successful in the last week, so he thinks might be a good time to throw out a tweet, see what the reaction was. The reaction was kind of mixed below the tweet. A lot of negativity. Obviously, a few people were saying higher. They commented higher after he tweeted this good morning. Mostly negativity, a few curious eyes, a few people higher. But yeah, that I don't think that tweet was just him being bored and telling his friends to tweet something. I think that was specifically time to see if the kind of public sentiment had changed in light of CZ's comeback here. But yeah, it's pretty much all I got right now. It's all Aster. It's an Aster market. I think we got a bunch of other project announcements after Zach was saying after the Korea Blockchain Week and then after Token 2049. So it's kind of like a 2-week period here. I think the market's going to be pretty flat, everything else. And then I think we'll start rising after that when the announcements start coming out.
Yeah, Ben, let me add this to the mix too, and shout out to Mutasco who mentioned this yesterday. I did add a little bit of this early this morning. Guys, AVNT has been pumping like crazy. That's Avantis. They also are a perp DEX. So quick overview of the top perp DEXs out there. You've got Hyperliquid, which has stole the show. This whole cycle pretty much. Now Aster is basically doing the same. Avantis, compared to Hyperliquid, which is sitting at a $12 billion market cap, Aster right around $4 billion. Avantis is $540 million. And it's up 117% in the last 7 days, up 592% in the last month. It's ranked 120. This thing's right on the cusp of getting in the top 100. Already listed on Coinbase, already listed on Binance. Avantis, guys. This could be the next multi-billion-dollar perp DEX play. Because again, this is the narrative right now, man. This is what you got to lock into. So when Mutasco said that yesterday, remember I said I'm going to write that down. I got to look at that because there's something here. Avantis is the largest RWA perps DEX in DeFi, built on and backed by Base. So this is the perp DEX backed by Base. Avantis allows users to trade crypto, real-world assets, including commodities, indices, and equities. It's backed by Pantera Capital, big money, and Coinbase. Avantis is the largest DEX on Base by volumes and brings institutional-grade products to DeFi, letting users trade with up to 500x leverage in a transparent, permissionless environment. So there you go. Avantis. That could be kind of the next one. It's sitting at 530 million. Now it is up significantly. So play that how you want to play it. It just launched as well. Looks like 15 days ago. It launched at 17 cents. All-time high at $2.66. It's at 205 right now. So it's on a little bit of a pullback, down 23% from all-time highs. And it's just, I think it's another, why not type play right now, given the environment we're in. So take that for what you will. Yeah. Ahmed, what's going on?
Hello, everyone. It's going good. It's going fine. It's good. Like really, today I was like amazed. Where is the space? Where the space? I didn't know what to do with my afternoon because now, for me, it's like 5 p.m. So I'm checking the market. I'm checking everything. It's like there are now. It's like the market is slowly coming back, which is good. It's feeling good now. So I'm just waiting for Solana to go crazy again up for sure. And then I'm going to have more money and then I'm going to be happy. As simple as that.
I like that, man. Yeah, I like that. I think Saul's got another run in it for sure. It just was up over 250 not too long ago. So nice pullback down to 212 right now. Definitely offers a nice entry, I think, into Saul here. So yeah, I think Saul's going to be a nice runner here still this cycle. Taking a look at some other things across the board, what's down the most here? Kronos is dialed back below 20 cents. Briefly here, it's sitting like right at 20 cents. Let's see. BitTenzer Tals down to 311. I still think that's undervalued. Ondo's down here at 93 cents. Lynx come back down to 21. SPX is down to 106. Caspa's been struggling. They're down below 8 cents. I think there's some interesting entries here, though, on a lot of top altcoins. Stellar XLM down to 36 cents. Pepe gave a 0 back. There's a lot of different directions I think you can go on this pullback. I mean, do you guys agree that this is kind of the last kind of flush before Q4, before we get into a really nice risk-on environment and we get a nice altcoin pump? What do you guys think?
Hope.
Yeah.
I really hope that, and it's like it should be, because yet we didn't see the crazy thing. You know what happened with this cycle? The starting since Trump get in the office, it is always just these crazy coins the Trump coin, the Melania, and then this Aster, they just suck they just suck the cash from the market and they concentrate it in one place. And the problem is that a good number of these people that joined that lost a lot of money. So that's maybe this is one of the reasons that the cycle stretched a little bit. It reminds me with the theory of what they call it, the tall buildings in real estate, that any city having what they call it sky scraper, or what they call it, that if they have a very long building, it will affect the cycle of the economy in that city. It will cause a shortage in cash. So literally, I see that in the crypto right now. So let's hope these crazy influential they don't launch anything again. So then the market will boom for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think we got a few more weeks here. I know it's hard to be patient and everything, but yeah, the specific variables I'm looking at, obviously the conference effect. I've studied this for years and years. So yeah, I think token 2049 ends in like 11 days or so. So the market's almost never pumped during these big conferences. It's almost always after it. So, but the fact that there are big conferences right now, that's a good thing, because the bigger ones, especially in the market, is sort of down, sort of kind of at a lull right now. They almost always do pump after those markets. We got that. We have the October effect. The fact that it typically is October 10th, 15th, 20th, around there when the market starts pumping. Obviously, that's not set in stone. And then a lot of these, kind of blue chip memes, blue chip altcoins are just way off their all-time high. It's been that way 9-10 months since last January, about 9 months or so. So as we all know, it's hard to be patient, but these things we always do have those pumps 1 or 2 times a year. Everything reaches their new all-time high. So you put all those two together, and also there's just that sort of internal feeling thing. It's right, like when everyone's just like super frustrated, when you get to the point where it's like you kind of stop caring about prices, like you keep hoping it's going to go. Right at the moment when you stop caring about prices, that's when they start rising. That's what at least I've noticed the last few years. So we're kind of getting to that point. A couple more weeks, it'll be like, when is it going to move? That's when it starts moving. So the variables are in line, in my opinion.
Yeah, indeed. And I want to add something, sorry. It's called the skyscraper index. It's like the skyscraper effect. Literally, I believe this is a factual thing that affected this market cycle. That is done by Trump, the 2 coins that they launched, and also the coin of CZ.
Wait, what is this again? This is a specific group?
Yeah, what was the name of that effect again?
Yeah, it's called the skyscraper index. So I feel it's the same thing happening with us in crypto. It's like this theory is saying that if any skyscraper that built in any city, it will affect the economy badly for the next few years. Why? Because it will suck all this cash from the economy while they are building this skyscraper. So if you see a big project like that, be careful, sell whatever you have and stock markets and wait a little bit. So it's the same thing happens. So these skyscrapers, I refer it to the CZ coin, Aster, and the other coins, 2 coins of Trump, that they truly affected the market.
The skyscraper index, okay?
Yeah.
Note that.
We'll send a post out on X, but it's interesting. I'll have to keep an eye on that too. But yeah, man, I think I do think we're gonna have some type of bull run. I'm still in the camp though that it's not gonna be one of those, throw a dart blindfolded, hit bullseye type of altcoin seasons though. And I've been saying this for a long time. I think you're going to have to be ahead of things. I think certain things are going to move significantly. I mean, look what's happened in the market to this point. Like if you go from early 2024 to now, there's been a lot of altcoins that have moved significantly, but the whole market hasn't moved together in unison. You know what I mean? I think the market is so watered down now. It's a different environment than it was in 2020, 2021. You just didn't have as much. You just didn't have as much going on. Now you've got a lot of competition in a lot of different corners of the market, and I feel like you've got to really front run the institutions now more than ever. I mean, look what's going on with Aster right now. I mean, like it's clearly the front running winner. You know, early on in the cycle, it was SWE and hype. You know, you have to be in the right things at the right time. And I still think that's how this is going to play out. I hope I'm wrong, by the way. I hope everybody's bags, no matter what you hold, even if it's a meme coin from 18 years ago, I hope it runs. I hope it runs like crazy. And I hope I'm dead ass wrong. But I just feel like you've got to be smart with your altcoin, bags and how you're allocating. I think it's not just, making any type of portfolio now. I think you got to be strategic about it. I don't know. Does anybody agree with that? I mean, feel free to jump in.
I definitely agree. Yeah, I think the culture has changed a little from like 1 to 2 years ago. It's going to be less the 1 million to 100 million daily runner. I think that's kind of, there's always going to be a little bit of that, but that's pretty much what dominated these meme coins, these sort of mini super cycles we got once or twice a year in each of the last few years. So I think it's going to be a little less of that. Sort of like the, SPX 6900 effect and the Aster effect, where people just put larger amounts of their portfolio in a few blue chip memes that maybe aren't, they could be, but, low caps, but more medium caps, stuff like that. So just smaller smaller portfolios, coins concentrated in a fewer money concentrated in a fewer amount of coins, maybe putting more money in that. But yeah, the 0 to 100 million, there's going to be a little bit of that, but that I mean, especially 2023, early 2024, when Solana was dominating, base chain came out, that's pretty much all it was. I think those days might kind of be over.
I'm with you. I think it's just you got to be in the right things at the right time right now. And we're seeing a lot of the capital in crypto just rotate, right? It's all about like the rotation of capital right now. XRP seemingly did nothing for 4 years, and then it went from 50 cents to $3 in 5 weeks. You know what I mean? And so like it's a lot of that right now. Things go on parabolic runs. We saw it with SWE. SWE went from 50 cents to $5 quick, out of nowhere. We had all the ISO plays running super hot, when Trump got reelected. Stellar, HBAR, XRP. Those are your leaders. Those were your leaders at that moment. Kronos gets some crazy news, right? It pumps like parabolic out of nowhere. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, during the, still kind of bear market times, Pepe was just like this outlier, going against the grain and just dominating the market. We're seeing it happen now with Aster. Caspa did it in the dead bear market. The dead bear market, Caspa was going up like crazy. So it's like you just got to be locked into the markets at all times and find the narratives and get in those plays at that time, and then capital starts to rotate into the next thing, right? That's kind of what I'm seeing. I don't know if Cliff, you want to jump in here? Go ahead, man.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, man. It's pretty wild, dude. Like you guys are talking about. Just
Did we lose you?
it. Can you hear me?
Oh,
I can hear him. Yep.
Yeah, you cut out for a second. I think you're back now.
Okay. Yeah, but I was just saying, it's kind of crazy. It's not like throw a dart at the wall and every token's gonna pump right now. It's kind of more strategic, and it's these newer plays like you guys are talking about, these newer projects, Caspa, Aster, SUI, but the old crowd favorites have been too, XRP, Solana, AVAX is doing pretty good right now. Chainlink is doing pretty good right now. Doge, XLM, you can go through the list of OGs too that are doing good right now. They haven't gone on a parabolic run, but some of these newer ones have, like you mentioned. Caspa did really good coming out of nowhere. Same for SUI. Aster is absolutely crazy. There was that other one that was like, what was it, Meme Core, that came out of nowhere and shot into the top 100. So we've seen this, I don't know, 10 or 20 times now through this cycle with these different tokens that just kind of come out of nowhere and shoot into the top 100. But yeah, man, it's, I'm just trying to DCA right now, Zach, and it sucks that it's kind of like a trader's market right now, but I'm just taking advantage of the dips that I can on the projects that I got conviction in, man. And that's all I can do, you know what I mean? Or try to trade with it, But I'm just accumulating, dude. I'm accumulating. I'm taking some profits and throwing it back in. So that's kind of my strategy right now. So yeah, interesting market though for sure. A lot of big news yesterday too, man. Huge news with the SEC and the CFTC and everything with that. I can't wait for hopefully this Clarity Act to come through. I hope it is this year. I really hope it's going to be this year, and so that would be great. But yeah, I'm just looking and watching the markets, watching the charts, and keeping an eye on the projects that interest me.
And Aster's not even on Binance. That I just read a tweet. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people are bullish on it. It's literally not even on. Which obviously, it's going to get on at some point. It's obviously not on Coinbase, which probably wouldn't get on since it's a direct competitor. You never know. The only big exchange it's on is Bybit. Then it's on Mexi, KuCoin, Huobi. It looks like. But yeah, I mean, the fact they're not even on Binance, CZ, that's definitely a reason to be bullish on the fact that the price could go much, much higher.
Cliff, I'm going to say it again because you weren't in here. Avantis is Coinbase's perp DEX. It's ranked 120 right now. So I'm telling everybody in the room, all right? So and if we're wrong, we're wrong. But wouldn't it make sense that Coinbase, the biggest competitor to Binance, other part of the world, they're going to try to pump their big perp DEX that's sitting at 530 million right now, compared to Binance's, which is almost 4 billion with Aster. And obviously hype, started the whole show. Now you got Aster. We know how this plays out. It just goes from one thing down to the next. This reminds me of Doge to Shib to Saitama, except it's perp DEX season. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Same shit. Just different narrative.
Dude, that's crazy. I didn't even hear about this one.
Mutosco, I got to give Mutosco credit on this. He mentioned it yesterday, and I listened, and I bought some on this most recent pullback this morning. I think I caught it at like 202. It actually dipped down late last night. I wish I'd have done it late last night around midnight. It was down to 189, but it's sitting at 206 right now, so I'm up slightly on the trade. It's a $533 million market cap. Ranked number 120 on the big board. It's already listed on Coinbase, listed on Binance, listed all across the board on all the top exchanges. So, I mean, if it's perp DEX season and you're getting exposure to Aster already, I mean, the next one in line would be Avantis.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, I mean, listen, do what you guys want. I mean, I'm not telling you to, obviously, not financial advice. But, yeah, we'll see.
Dude, and it's only got a 258 million circulating supply.
Mm-hmm.
It's at $2.
Yeah, so I mean, the market cap's 8 times smaller, and Coinbase as an entity is behind it, pretty much just as big a name as Binance. So, you do the math. Zach, a bunch of people are showing Avantis under my YouTube videos for Aster. I mean, with a name like Avantis, I thought it was just some like cheesy pre-sale project or something. I didn't really look into it. Then I kind of did like an hour before this. Yeah. Like, okay, it's definitely something to look into here.
Yeah, usually when the bot farms come on the YouTube channel, I don't pay attention, but that might be a good one actually. Dude, that's such an issue and such a problem. I wish there was a way to easily solve that, man. And people are always like, clean up your comment section. I'm like, bro, I would have to do this 24/7. I need to hire somebody 40 hours a week. Actually, more than that, because they just keep coming. But anyway.
Yeah, because if you delete them, they just come back a half an hour later.
It's crazy.
A fruitless effort.
It's crazy. I have like over 2,000 blocked tickers on my blocked words that people can't comment, and they just come up with other shit. I mean, it's actually a huge problem. YouTube needs to figure that out. But anyway.
374,258 tokens unlocking daily.
Yeah.
So that's nice. There's no more cliff unlocks. that I'm really seeing here. Oh, okay, guys. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Mutasco mentioned it yesterday. I wrote it down and then I looked at it, yesterday for a couple hours, and I was like, I'm gonna go in here. So, yeah. Somebody bought $50 million worth of Aster. This guy now owns 0.3% of the supply, ranks as the 12th largest holder. Where did he buy it at? He bought it at 210. Imagine buying $50 million worth of a crypto at 210 after it's went on a parabolic run. That's insane.
I need that. I need that kind of capital, Zach.
That
What do I
is
gotta do?
that is classic
Indeed.
FU money right there.
Yeah.
You know, Zach, also, please, I may mention that for you, like a month ago or something or more. It's like check Qubic. Qubic is literally the blonde cheerleader in crypto that everyone dream of. Seriously. So check it and thank me later. Just check it. Just read about it. It's just magnificent.
I think I've heard this.
Yeah.
I've heard you say this before. Is it so? It's
Yeah.
QUIBIC? No, what is it?
Qubic. QUBIC. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, right
Guys,
around a
just check it.
$200 million market cap. So it's down significantly in the last week, which is in the last month. But this could be interesting, though.
The guy behind it, he was maybe the second or third guy investing in Bitcoin or something like that. They are saying he have a lot of Bitcoin stashed. So
So it's
this
a
guy is,
decentralized.
even they are saying sometimes maybe he is the real Satoshi. I'm not joking. So it's like a lot of rumors, but this guy is just is weird in a magnificent way. This is what I'm gonna say. Look, my main investments now, my main is this one, and the bigger one is that another one on Solana. It's another project in Solana. So these two are my main. Other things is just play I do.
Interesting. I'm going to put this on the watch list. I'll read into this. But Qubic's redefining blockchain with feeless transactions and instant finality. It's a layer one proof of work that channels computational power toward AI training rather than wasting it. Qubic's network can empower industries such as finance, gaming, and supply chain management with real-time cost-fee transactions. Interesting. Yeah, it's 200 mil market cap, not listed on Binance yet, not listed on Coinbase. It's ranked 236. I'll definitely give this a look. Appreciate that.
You are most welcome. And another thing, Motosco, we discuss, we talk about you a lot in our community. We just love your brain. Seriously.
Speaking of, Lutasco, what's going on, man? Good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Ahmed. We're all kind of sharing here and learning. I think it's probably, I call it, if you've never read Think and Grow Rich, there's a part of the book that talks about, having this mind share group. And I believe in that a lot. If you can find really good people that you can align with, just keep learning. And I think you're probably going to do well. To your point on
the mastermind principle.
Exactly, the mastermind. So if you can get together and do that and just continue to push through, there's no limit to what you can achieve. So the one thing I would say about this is kind of confusing my brain a little bit, because I do a lot of digging on behind the scenes. I'll post something here. There's a lady within the Coinbase ecosystem that, I mean, she's probably she's busy building a lot. There was a debate 2 years ago between a post that Brian Armstrong put out about something. I think it was wallet integration, and then what's his name? The former Twitter CEO. His name is Jack Dorsey, and I think he came at Brian Armstrong with some like a lot of emotions. He's asking Brian Armstrong and Coinbase, when are you ever going to integrate Lightning or something like that? And then the Chainlink guy, I don't know, I remember his name. I think it's Ryan. He popped in there and gave some reasons. And then through that digging, I found this lady who's like, you don't see her a lot, but she's literally one of the backbones of product design for Coinbase. And with the AVNT thing that I said to you, there's a lot behind it that I think makes it a good play because of all the, I mean, they had some spaces a few months ago with Spotify. What's the name of the Shopify. And it blew my mind the amount of technical integrations that Coinbase is building behind the scenes. So what I would say with the AVNT is that, and guys, I've said this before, there isn't a standard, I call it the standard, what's a good float for an asset? And I think, Zach, you made a point earlier. If the float is concentrated in the hands of a responsible party, should you take the play, right? That could also, I mean, CZ himself can be considered a strategic fundamental signal. If he backs something, you know, there's a chance that he doesn't want to put his name out there for something to just blow up. So when you think of Coinbase and Brian, you have to remember Coinbase is a regulated entity in the United States. They've hired some of the most complicated Wall Street, I call them financial engineering plumbing experts. And they're doing this slowly. It's hard because these things are not easy to build and deploy. And I listened to this through a podcast a while back. So the reason I'm bullish on it is many angles. I'm not just throwing the name out there, but it could work, it may not work, but I think it's a chance. And if we're going to go into, there's always a saying that in a free market economy, you want innovation at all-time high. You want competition at all-time high. You want people to allocate their capital efficiently. So if CZ has a bag of cash that he thinks maybe Peps trading is the new thing and maybe DAC pool is the new thing and he's allocating 10% of it, I'm gonna bet on it, right? And again, I did some comparison between AVNT and Aster, and I said this before. The supply for Aster is 8 billion. The supply for AVNT is 1 billion. So if you're gonna do apples to apples comparative analysis between two assets, you're better off comparing AVNT to Hyperliquid from a supply basis, right? But what is interesting is AVNT is sitting at 26% float if you work out the numbers, versus Aster, which is 8 billion supply at 20% float. Let that sink in for a second. I don't understand why, but like, I just can't understand it. But I do because with Aster, you would think that the float should be a little bit, imbalanced, but I think that there is a lot of, I call it the eigenlayer. If you know, in the Ethereum ecosystem, they have a very innovative project called Eigenlayer. It's like Amazon Web Services for Ethereum. And I think A16Z went all in on it with like $200 million or something like that. But that project, I hold that as well. And I think the guy who's behind this is just super brilliant, right? So, and that's my bag. I hold it EtherFi as well because I know they're all embedded with the XPL, the Tether token that is about to pop out. I think it comes out tomorrow. Yeah, it launches tomorrow. So keep an eye on that as well. If you were bullish on Circle, you should be more bullish on Tether. I did some analysis on AI, like Grok, some deep prompting, And surprisingly, and Clifford, you might like this, I was trying to create like some innovative, because I'm seeing everybody, Michael Saylor is doing single asset treasury model, and then everybody's copying, just doing single asset. You either like, XRP, or you're either AVAX or what. They're not mixing it up. So I said, well, what would it look like if somebody came up with a new dot model that is not just a single asset, but 3 or 4 or 5? And as you guys know, the AI has no emotions. They literally gave me top 10, and Link was in there. Tron. And when you mention Tron, people are like, "What, this guy is scammy." I don't care about that. All I care about is the data. If you go on Tron scan, you look at the data. I don't care if it's farmed. I don't care if it's like, manipulated. The data can speak to itself, right? So all I would say is these are stuff that I own, by the way. I own Hyper because I bought it low, right? And so it has to go back down to $11 for me to be like not in profit, okay? And I hold Athena, I hold EtherFi. These are some of my infrastructure plays that I'm betting on. I just need one of them to do well. That's it. I don't need all of them doing well. I just need one of them. But that's it. Just pay attention to the supply. And I think that there is a lot of mechanics. And this is why I brought the eigenlayer thing in there, because it's like restaking. We had this meta early on, the airdrop meta. We went into like restaking and all that. And people were like, what is this? What is this? But even the SEC came out boldly and laid out a clear message on staking not being a security. And I referenced the case specifically. In fact, the government was trying to go after staking income. And it was the Jarrett's versus the United States. It's literally a court case, okay, between the IRS and this guy who did staking. And somehow the government said, IRS said, somehow we're going to sue you. The staking revenue you're getting, let's say I put my token in and I get a reward on the token. The IRS wants to tax it. So there's some complexities there. There are no clear rules, but the SEC recently came out and put out a clear message that staking is not a security, okay? So that kind of paved the way for some other things to be happening in that realm. So the reason I'm saying Aster, even though the supply is big, is that they have a way to, like I said, I've said, anytime you think about these tokens, think about 3 things: the temperature of money. You have solid state, you have liquid state, and you have gas state. If you can understand these 3, you can almost certainly not worry so much about supply when you understand the operators, because they will figure out a way to put the tokens in these 3 buckets. And when they do so, it works. And there's a blueprint. You can go on ultrasound.money and look at Ethereum. Ethereum is literally the blueprint of these 3 buckets that I just mentioned. You can go on ultrasound.money. You can see how much Ethereum is in staking, right? The last comment I'll make is this. People are underestimating what is about to happen in this market. Just watch it, okay? Last night, I was, before I went to bed, I went on to hyperscan.io just to look, just to look at how many people, it was hilarious. I'm like cracking up. People literally leaving the staking queue for Hyperliquid. It was insane. The amount of tokens, literally, people are freaking out trying to unstake. I don't know where they're taking the money to, but you guys can go look at this, okay? Go on Hyperscan, and it's spelled as hype, just like hyper, right? But it's URR.io. Just go on there, scan.io. Go on there and see it for yourself. It's similar to validatorq.com, which is what tracks Ethereum's, they have the entry queue and they have the exit queue. You can literally track that and see what's happening with Ethereum's price, just based on how much tokens are getting unstaked, how many tokens are coming in. And I use that to kind of monitor when I think there's a signal that the SEC can approve the Ethereum ETF staking. When they do, you probably would see that signal when you go on validatedq.com. You will see it before everybody sees it, right? But that's just a tip for everyone. If you want to kind of take it as a tool, you can literally watch this in real time and see the effects of what could potentially happen to Ethereum's price. But that's all right. I see Pade's hand up.
Yeah,
Sorry, Pade.
Mutasco, real quick, we'll get to Pate here too. I want to see, I want to check in with him and get some thoughts on what's going out there, what's going on out there in Korea. But you know, I could tell in your voice you're getting ready for a big run. But I want to get your thoughts on like something I brought up there. You know, do you think that because this is such a trader's market right now, like, do you think this bull run's going to be similar to 2021 in that like you could throw a dart, hit bullseye? Or do you think like certain things are just going to move parabolically and leave everything else behind? Like, what's your, or is it somewhere in between? I guess is my question. I want to get your thoughts on that.
What's changed, Zach, that people are not pricing in? Guys, blessings to Paul Atkins, okay? A lot of people are still in the hangover. They're not grasping the significance of the SEC speed. I have never seen this before, okay? And that's just my period of being in the space and understanding how the previous SEC... Guys, you guys remember when it would only be that the Department of Justice is having a major announcement? You guys remember those types of press
Oh, yeah.
briefings?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and tokens literally would tank. Now, flip it the other way. When the SEC is making an announcement or sending a presser or publishing a statement, it's all bullish. Now, do I think the market has priced this in? I don't think so. People are still kind of like, is this real? Is this not real? So to your point, 2021, right? And I've said this before. I've said what we need is liquidity. Is anybody watching what's going on with Argentina right now, right? And reading Scott Bessent's messaging? All options on the table, right? Now I understand what the mechanics they're going to use to literally bail out Argentina, but the significance of this is, and I'll make a last comment on this about rate cuts. Nobody yet, and I'm sure there are some handful of banks in Wall Street that know this already, and they're moving their money around for this to happen. In fact, Goldman Sachs literally released a report that which literally said they're bullish for the end of year. Okay, we have yet to see what we call the hysteria, right? We have yet to see that. And I'm not the one just speaking this. I've said if you want to see this, there's a website called bitbo.io. If you go on there, you will see literally every indicator and then compare it to historical. I mean, history usually doesn't just repeat, it rhymes, right? So use that data as a metric and then try to estimate what we have seen right now. If you're playing a board game and you have many wild cards than the other opponent, what do you think? You have a chance of winning, right? If you have less wild cards, you have a problem. So what I'm thinking that is a wild card that is juiced up this time compared to 2021 is regulation. We're now literally in full-on deregulation from all angles, right? The SEC is on board, the CFTC is on board, Treasury is on board, the OCC, which is the Office of the Controller of Currency, is on board. All of them. And for anybody who doesn't know what this agency does, go look up all of the interpretive letters that the OCC has released. This is for all the banks. I still remember these things in my head. 1171, 1172, the last one was 1176. These are interpretive letters. Please go read them. When you read them, then ask the question, are TradFi players coming into the market yet? Here's what they'll offer. Custody, they'll offer trading, they'll offer wallet, They'll offer all kinds of stuff. In fact, some of the interpretive letters describe specifically what activities banks can engage in regarding crypto. So, what I would say is this: the market is mispriced. Whenever you're saying this out loud, you're probably the only ghost in town because people cannot see it. So they think you're just crazy. But what I'm projecting is that by the end of the year, and this is going to extend, so far we know it's going to extend, okay? It could go into maybe around April, I'll start getting concerned because this is based on history. Every single time there's a midterm, the politics goes all time high from April. So if you're betting this market, understand that I'm just a regular Joe, right? The smart money know exactly when they're going to make their money and when they're going to get out. So I'm projecting by April next year, when the politicians start to go out, raise money, and do all that stuff. And you can track this if you go on opensecrets.org. You can kind of see every single state, every politician. These things start to go up when we get closer, and no regulation, no action gets any momentum. This is why the SEC is saying that they're pushing for Clarity Act, because there's a lot within Clarity Act that would allow them to literally go from 0 to 1,000. Okay, if you read that bill, you understand why. So I'm saying, because of all these things, the market is mispriced. And what you want to do is position yourself, right? And stay in the market. At least stay in the market through the end of the year. And let's see what happens.
Mutasco,
I'm
real
ready
quick.
to bet that.
Real quick, I love the breakdown as always. I just got to announce something real quick. Flare is on the move. Flare is booming right now. They just came out with some news within the last half hour. Let me throw it up in the nest for you guys. Also, I threw my live stream up there. If you guys can help with a share on that, that would be awesome. I just want to get more people listening to our space and get exposure. So that's up in the nest too. Let me. How can I? Why won't it let me post this? Oh, here's why. Hold on one sec. I got to do it from this screen. So Flare Networks, here we go. Putting it up there for you guys right now. Oops, that's the wrong one. Here's the right one. Shit. There you go. For over a decade, XRP has powered fast and efficient settlement at scale. FXRP on Flare extends that strength with composability, opening new growth opportunities. XRP is collateral, XRP is liquidity, and yield in DeFi. XRP meets DeFi on Flare. So this news just came out within the last half hour. Flare is booming right now. It is right now the top mover in the top 100. It's up 15%, breaking out, just crossed over a $2 billion market cap, ranked number 51 on the big board. So that's why Flare is pumping, if you're wondering, and if you guys are watching that. So just wanted to throw that out there. But Paid had to drop down. I don't see him down there. I wanted to get to him and get some insights here. Hopefully he can pop back in. But Cliff, you got anything, man?
No, dude. No, I'm waiting to see if we get a pullback on the one you guys told me about, because and I'm looking at my portfolio and I'm like, man, which one do I want to give up to try to get some of that? But yeah, no, man, nothing really to add to that. It's pretty crazy, dude. It looks like these guys saw what hype had going, and they went in. They went in big time. So I don't know what that means for hype, but they had a good idea, and it seems like the big dogs want some of it. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, man. Very interesting indeed. Are we going to see more exchanges do this?
Trust Wallet just announced perps are coming soon to Trust Wallet. 100 plus markets and up to 100x leverage, powered by Aster DEX. Advanced trading designed for everyone. That news just came out. Aster DEX did also. So there was an interview with their CEO with somebody within the last 6-7 hours. They did announce that their layer 1 is in the works. So that is coming. I know we talked about that yesterday a little bit as well. So some more news for you guys.
Who owns Trust Wallet?
Binance, right?
Yep.
Right. So you know how that goes.
Oh yeah.
If Pump Fund led to the whole Phantom, I think it's Phantom Wallet helped. I mean, everybody, when you hear blockchain, you just want to have a wallet, and then you want to be able to quickly swap at the speed of the wallet speed, right? If you can't do that, then you're in trouble. This is why I think Tao is kind of struggling, because people just want to be able to access some of these alpha tokens and all that stuff. So I think you guys know where this is headed. I mean, if you're fading this, it's two things. You either didn't do your research well, or maybe you're hired to just hate things, right? But I'm going online. I'm looking at the data, and it's before I went to bed, literally yesterday. I'm watching in real time. I don't know who these traders are. I just know that I see wallets selling one asset and moving the money. I don't know where they're taking the money to, but that's what's going on, right? So you just have to, you can't fade some things. You just have to watch it and play the momentum. That's where we're headed right now. If you think by next week, guys, this market, I'll be shocked if this market is this boring, right? It can't be. There's no way.
But even in a boring market, I mean, look at all the opportunities that are still right here in front of us. I mean, we put it out there on the Breakfast Club when, Aster pulled back to $1.30 2 days ago. You know what I'm saying? And there's still always ways to make money in this market. And you're right. I mean, it's a boring market right now. It's boring. But and to your point, Mutasco, Avantis, I mean, this thing has been going parabolic the last week. And I feel like not a lot of people know about it. So it's just, you got to put in the time. That's really what it comes down to. You got to really put in the time and be nimble, have cash on the sidelines, and be ready to strike. Tyler, what's up, man? Or Cliff, you got something? Go ahead, man.
I was just going to say, man, last week we were talking about these streamer tokens. And now this week we're talking about these perpetual tokens.
That's just how
See how fast the narrative shifts?
Yep.
That's why I didn't chase the streamers.
Yep. No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. By the way, I did not start my live stream token for anybody who wants to know. I had about 150 messages on Telegram. Zach, what are you doing with your token? Do you have anything planned? And I'm like, oh my God, this is a mess. Somebody started it though. It was not me. But anyway, Tyler, go ahead.
I am just curious. I know I can chat GPT it or whatever, but I'm curious if you could just simply talk about what a perp DEX is and what you can see what's the benefit of them. I know I can chat GPT it, but honestly chat GPT I think is just 85% correct at the time. So it's best to hear from people such as yourself.
Yeah, I mean, essentially you're trading futures, but what separates what they're doing now with Aster and AVNT, it's just crazy amounts of leverage. Which, Mutasco, I wanted to bring that up to you. Is that dangerous for the markets in some ways too? That amount of leverage. I think Aster offers up to 1001x leverage or something like that. The other thing that's unique is hidden order books, right? So that's one that I actually really like, because now we're kicking it back into decentralized territory. And, because what happens is when these things are made public, the manipulation is just at its peak because people can see. This is what happened with what's his face, Mutasco? Oh my God, who's the guy you referenced yesterday? James Wynn, right? This is what happened with him. I mean, he kept getting liquidated because he was making all this stuff public, and he was like, "Look at these massive moves I'm making." I think he was a plant, by the way, for hype. That's what I think. But that's just my tinfoil hat speaking. But Yeah, I mean, essentially they are, it's the same thing with any kind of perps. It's just um, derivative of the asset, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. But what they're doing now is just crazy leverage, and then the hidden fee or the hidden feature is kind of separating what they're doing now with some of these DEXs. Go ahead, Saga.
I normally agree with what Clifford says, but this is one time I'm gonna disagree with him.
All right.
I do think that the streamer narrative is still alive. I think it's gonna really help with onboarding new people into crypto. Like, I showed it to my friend she's been streaming, for multiple years. But she had never got into crypto. She now launched her own coin on Pump Fund and started doing content like daily. And she doesn't even have to worry about the crypto until she starts earning rewards. And then I can help her with like downloading a Phantom wallet and all that jazz. I think that it's really good for the community, and I was like normally highly against memes, and here I am, being part of one and also encouraging everyone I know to get on and start streaming. Like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity where you get, rewards back, and you get paid more than like YouTube and Instagram Live and Kick and all of its competitors. So maybe the narrative has changed for the week, but I still think these streamer tokens are going to be a big part of this cycle.
I think there's a place for it too. But Tyler, going back to your other thing too, I failed to mention this. So like with traditional futures, there's a time limit on it as well, right? So the contract expires on a certain date, right? Now with perp DEX trading, it could be infinite. So as long as you don't get liquidated, you could basically, keep that trade open, right? So that's another difference between just regular futures trading and perp future trading. So that's another big difference there. But what they're really doing now is like just crazy amounts of leverage, which like we haven't seen these type of levels of leverage in a really long time. I mean, it's crazy. 1,000x leverage. That's insane.
That is. So if I'm understanding, like layer ones, it sounds like Aster is the perp DEX for the layer one of Binance. Does that sound? Does Ethereum have like their perp DEX? And does that make sense? What I'm trying to ask. That's my question.
Yeah, so to my knowledge, it's just that YZI Labs is backing Binance. They're also backing Aster. Aster's going to become a layer one. They're going to create their own layer one. From what I just read a little bit ago while I've been on the space, just kind of sifting through some stuff. So I mean, it's you could say it's backed by Binance, but it's kind of its own entity as well. Am I right in saying that? If somebody wants to jump and say something different, please. I think that's the way I understand it. But it's backed by YZI Labs, which is also the backing of Binance. So that's why it's like Binance's perp DEX, if that makes sense. Same thing with Avantis AVNT, backed by Coinbase, running on the base chain.
It got me thinking maybe, I don't know, because I still want to buy some SEI. Like, I really still think that one could be good. But gosh, I don't know. Like, because they post a lot of stuff. But I wonder if, like, they could have something like a perp DEX. Like, if they would do something like that. Or SWE, if they could get their own perp DEX as well.
Yeah. No, I think this could be a domino effect for sure. I definitely could see this being a domino effect. It's a copycat league. I think a lot of these layer ones are probably going to do similar things. And there's probably some out there that we're not even, talking about yet. Let me see if I can find some. Michael, what's going on, man?
What's up, Zach? What's going on with the Breakfast Club? Yeah, I know our boy Paige. He's out there. He's running wild, putting it down, representing, getting all the connections and all the alpha. I got to give a shout out to Paid, you know, and everybody else in the room. Hope everybody's doing good. What's up, Saga? Everybody up in here, Clifford, everybody, hope everybody's doing good. But let's go. What's up? All right. So I want to come in real quick. Two things. Always agree to disagree, right? Always agree to agree. No problems. Good conversation. Also, I want to chime in with we'll talk about Aster in a second, but the streaming tokens. So as for the streaming tokens, I still have people that are onboarding that have regular business, and now they're connecting their business and they're streaming their business live and connecting it. And I do see it's a meta that will be happening. It's sort of like, I'm gonna say it again, like Visa card and Master. You might have a quick adaptation in the beginning, and then later on they flooded it. They came out with commercials saying Visa and MasterCard are no good, right? So it's still the understanding. A lot of people don't really, especially in the crypto space, it's hard to adapt to the meme tokens, hard to adapt to different things that are coming out into crypto. So when it comes to onboarding people, it's going to be great because Amazon killed the game and onboarded a lot of people into the e-commerce because it made a lot of people money and they went that route. Streaming made a lot of people money and they're doing that and they're still doing that. Streaming still makes a lot of people millions of dollars. How do we think marijuana industry, it makes billions of dollars of tax revenue? Why do we think that crypto is not going to go into these industries? A lot of us are real world assets and let's go this way and that way. We don't think that everything's going to get tokenized. So streaming is still going to be out there, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a big part of it. Maybe people have a bad taste in the mouth because it's coming from pump.fun, but you're going to have all different kinds of platforms doing it. Different people popping out, different entities. Look at MetaMask, they're coming out with their token. All kinds of people doing stuff now in crypto. So wouldn't knock it, just keep your eyes on it. People are still making a lot of money getting ahead of some of these video streamers before they start streaming, and they're printing, right? And they're printing on them daily too, catching the waves and different stuff. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to say about Aster, pretty crazy, right? I'm going to say something where people can agree to disagree or whatever it may be. I love CZ. I love what he did to the market. I love that he brought Binance. I love the Certic Audit Circle. I love that he has a thumb on it, and I see a lot of things that people maybe be hating against him or not appreciative of what he brought to the table, or maybe they see he's manipulating or whatever the situation may be. But when we see a lot of these, these groups, these meetings, these onboarding, a lot of these people on, ballots, like we're not really seeing a lot about Binance. They're putting them to a corner. But at the end of the day, just because somebody went to jail doesn't mean that they're bad, right? But he did go to jail and, he did his time. He's out. But a lot of people are saying he's manipulating the market for years and doing all kinds of stuff. But it's a little weird to me that a lot of people saying he's manipulating the market, but now he's supporting something that you can hide trades. You can hide longs and shorts that a lot of people are not going to be able to see. So it's like, okay, so he wants to get into something and back something that you can supposedly hide, but maybe they're the only motherfuckers that are going to be able to see something like that and manipulate it like they've been doing in the market in general. So we can agree to disagree. You could say that's true, that's not, or whatever. But I also look at it to where like this guy just don't surround himself on tokens or projects or anything in general, like left and right all the time. But when something like this is a good thing, but to me, it's a little weird also that, that's not full DeFi, right? That's not going back to crypto. That's going back to somebody, sort of controlling and manipulating it no matter what the situation may be, if we think it's beneficial for the space. So I just want to give my 2 cents. Hope you guys have a good day. We can always agree to disagree, but this space is always on fire. Hopefully Paid's doing good out there and everybody's having some good breakfast, right? Thank you, Zach, and have a wonderful day.
Appreciate you, Mike, as always, man. Make sure you guys give Mike a follow, too. He's got a great show, so always want to show some love and support there. He's got a great space that he runs daily as well, so give him a follow. Make sure you guys pull up over there. That goes for everybody listening on YouTube and X on the live streams, too. You guys can see on screen, and I'll pull up his page, too, on the main. There you go. Anybody on the live streams can see it there. So just Mike with Crypto, at Mike with Crypto. Give them a follow over there and check out what they got cooking. So, yeah, man, I'm with you, man. It's, it's one of those things, good, bad. we could sit there and debate it and lose sleep over it, man. I'm just trying to make a living, bro. You know, and I'm hopping on trains, I'm hopping on narratives, and I'm getting in where I think is a good spot to get in at. And that's kind of, you know, that's all you can do. You know, you got to control what you can control out here. And you know, I'm an investor, I'm a trader. You know, I'm that first and foremost. Wherever that opportunity is, you know, I'm going. And you know, I think at the end of the day, like, kind of having that approach will help you, because otherwise you're letting other things kind of get in the way. You almost have to be numb to this, you know, numb to all this stuff that's going on. And you know, follow the money, man. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, CZ, you know, good, bad. I don't know. I mean, it obviously wasn't a thing like with Sam Bankman-Fried. You know, it wasn't that bad. It was basically, hey, there's no rule book, there's no playbook here. You know, I'm just going to go do this because nobody will tell me if I can or not. And then, you know, that past SEC regime, they just ruled with an iron fist, man. They just came down on whoever they wanted to come down on. And you know, and they got, you know, they got proven to be an example, I think. And I think, you know, the other thing is too, I do think there's some of that narrative with Binance and Coinbase, kind of the US, China, you know, like different parts of the world. Obviously, you know, outside of crypto, there's been a lot of, it's a tumultuous relationship, right? There's been a lot of issues. So I think there's some of that too. But right now, man, I mean, this whole perp DEX thing is booming, and I'm trying to get in where I fit in and take advantage of it. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I think when you're a retail investor, that's all you really can do. You know, that's all you really can do, because we're not sitting at these round tables. You know, we don't, and all these guys, I mean, and people, they've all got information that we don't have. That's just what it is, right? They've all got special treatment. They all got insider access, you know, but we're just trying to get as much of that as we can and play on it, right? And make plays on it. And I think that's that's all it is we can do. You know, there are certain things that they have to make public. There are certain things that, you know, we can dive into and find and go down the rabbit hole and connect some dots and then form a thesis and make a play. And the hope is you get a couple big hits, and that's all you really need in this space, right? I mean, it can wipe out a lot of the ones you don't hit on. And I've said that all along in crypto, man. And anybody that's, you know, here every single day, I mean, I think they would say the same thing, right? They're just trying to get whatever little edge they can get in this market to perform well. Waddy, what's going on, man?
Yeah, my bad, bro.
No, you're
No,
good.
I sort of. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Can't complain at all.
Yeah, I know, man. That Easter is a blessing, bro. And what I was gonna say is that I totally agree, man. And I was gonna tell you about Flare, but looking from the pinned tweets, I was like, nope, you already know about it. So, but yeah, man, I agree with you. You know, sometimes I tell people the same thing. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not even close. But one thing that I do is I try to grind every single day, try to get a couple of bucks, right? And here in crypto, if you come across good project like Aster, like Flare, like B-Chain, you're gonna make money. So you just gotta make sure that you're looking at it, and even that one, ABNT. The only thing I didn't like about ABNT is just that they can blacklist, but other than that, it's a beautiful project as well. So if you stick around, right, you listen to people like Zach, myself, and anyone that actually gives you the right information about crypto and how to stay informed, there is a lot of money to be made in this market. So, you know, just like you, Zach, I always said, I'm not an insider. I would love to have an insider friend, but at the end of the day, we know that ain't gonna happen unless you got a couple of millions, right? But with that being said, man, I just appreciate you for doing this every morning because there's a lot of people out there that does not have the right information and they get wrecked all the time. So that's all.
Appreciate you, Waddy. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's yeah, you know, it's here's the great thing though. I think Mutasco referenced this earlier. Together, man, like you can come up with some great plans and some great strategies. And I think that's the key in this space is if you find a bunch of people willing to share ideas and share their insights, share what they found, you know, you never know who somebody else knows. And I found a lot of people in this space that are way more big time than all of us, right? And I've just, you know, formed some good friendships. So I do have some of those connections, and it helps, you know, and it doesn't happen overnight. And I try to relay that kind of stuff back to all of us, you know, stuff that I hear, stuff that I see. And that's how you win in this space, man. And I feel like it's dope because, you know, in the real business world, man, it's like so cutthroat. You know, it's like, you know, our team versus my, you know, your team, and we're not, you know, that's a competitive advantage, and we're not going to share our IP and blah blah blah. That's why I love this, man, is because we're all on the same playing field. We're kind of, you know, playing with the institutions. We're trying to get as much information that we can to act as if we are the institutions in some way, right? And
Yeah.
it feels amazing when you get it right. You know, you're not going to get it right every time, but it comes down to, you know, how you allocate yourself. Don't over leverage yourself. You know, don't fly into anything and everything you see. And it just takes time in this space, man. Like you got to make the mistakes. I feel like you got to fall flat on your face in crypto and get up off the
Yeah.
pavement a few times to really realize, like, okay, what does it actually take to be successful here? You know?
Yeah, it's like when you learn how to ride a bike, right? You gotta fall a couple of times and get back up until you actually know how to do it. But what I was gonna say is Zach also future because they haven't released it yet. MetaMask is planning to launch their own token. It's called Mask. I'm waiting for Night and Dusk. That's in the Cardano ecosystem, and I'm waiting for Base. Guys, this is what I gotta say. Zach, we know who CZ is. We're seeing the power that CZ has and everything that's going on with Aster. Bro, when Base come out with their own token, I would say this. It's not financial advice, but you got to be out of your mind not to even throw something in there, in my opinion.
I like it, man. I like it. I appreciate you. Mutasco, go ahead, man.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Sorry.
we got you.
No, Tyler, I wanted to kind of give you some information. I think sometimes I like to see things visually. To your earlier question about PEPs, one of the things that I did post them in the comment section, so take some time and dig into it. I'm sure you get it once you read it because they're very simple diagrams that kind of describes different participants in the market. And for everybody, if you think of blockchains, if you remember in the early days, we were talking about transparency, immutability, scalability, and all the stuff that we like to talk about. It didn't take long for us to realize that, the transparency comes with some problems, right? If you say everybody can go driving on the highway without a driver's license, we know what's going to happen, right? We can predict what's going to happen. The problem with, we're kind of debating whether we should have private transactions versus open transactions. It's not either or. It's some people just want to have their transaction private. They should be able to have that, right? That's an option that exists in the market. It's almost like saying, The CEOs, you can kind of just look up their salaries and know how much they make. But you have a hard time finding your coworkers' salary, right? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? There's so much debate about that. In transactions within crypto, people like to say, well, if there's dark pool transactions, that's bad. That means people are just bad actors. It can be right, it can also be wrong. But I always like to be in the middle, right? What if I choose to do a transaction? Imagine if Michael Saylor, every time he announces I'm buying Bitcoin, everybody knows he's buying and then he just swaps it spot. You know what will happen to the market? There will be people with sophisticated tools that would take advantage of that, right? It's in the blockchain world, they're called MEVs, minor extractable value. And there's usually a journey, right? You start from the user to a certain point, and then you have execution. I've posted the stuff. You guys can see it. What I posted kind of lays it out, like it gives you a visual representation. It's like lifting the hood of a car. You don't know what's running the car, but if you lift it up, you can kind of see if you know where the water tank is, or every single item there has a purpose. So for me, like Zach said, don't fight the money and the momentum, right? If you're here to make money, yes, again, here's the point I would say about CZ. CZ, the government had all the resources they had, they went after the guy. Okay? They had all the reasons. The problem I have with the government is they had all the resources deployed. They came out and said CZ's only crime. And that's not me saying, the Department of Justice, CZ's only crime is that he didn't watch. He didn't implement the right, whatever, Bank Secrecy Act. They specified what CZ's crime was. That was the government. So this is the two questions I ask people. If the government of the United States, under the Department of Justice, under the Biden administration, who literally wanted to kill crypto, had all the resources they had, they went after him, okay? And they came out and said, oh, the fraud thing, the stealing thing, we don't see. What we see is CZ didn't implement the Bank Secrecy Act, allowed people to do private transactions and all that stuff, right? There's two things I'll ask, two problems I have there. Because CZ can write a $4 billion check, the government doesn't get to say, we see the bad things, but by the way, all you have to do and pay for, and we're going to make a statement, is that you didn't implement the right rules. Who am I to go about saying CZ is a criminal, or CZ is this, CZ is that, right? That's what you want to be asking, because then we have two problems. The government, in fact, if it takes $4 billion to right the wrongs, then what's the point of the Department of Justice? What's the point? It's like saying, oh, El Chapo smuggled cocaine and then he rode a bike in a tunnel. For that reason, we don't care about how much cocaine. We're just saying he rode a bike, and we don't like people riding bikes under a tunnel. And we're just going to put him in prison. Does that make sense? But then we say, well, it's bad to trade cocaine. No, that's just my opinion, by the way. I just find it a little complicated because I've read reports. I mean, did you guys see the FINRA report on TD Bank? This bank has millions of customers. The government did an extensive investigation on TD Bank. Look this up. They came out with a bunch of things. For 10 years, in one of their statements, for 10 years, TD Bank and their CEOs and top executives literally allowed multi-billion-dollar money laundering schemes through cartels. And I'm not making this up. If you read the investigation, you see it. You know how much TD Bank paid and walked away? The bank is still running. The bank is literally still running. The cartels that continue to move money for 10 years, and you're telling me the government didn't know? They know. So when it comes to crypto, again, if I have the money to trade and do dark pool transactions, I'll do it every single day. And I could care less what anybody thinks because I shared a screenshot. You can kind of see there's a sandwich attack. These are common attacks on crypto. When you do transactions, somebody somewhere sits there. It's like when you walk into an airport, like you have and attacks. It's like you're walking through security and not getting scanned. Now imagine in crypto, everybody getting scanned, there's somebody that sits on the side and just watching you. They know how much money you have in your wallet. They can figure out a way to steal the money once you get out of the scan. This is what public mempools are today. That's bad. Now, if you have a what we call encrypted mempool, or you have masked, or what CZ calls a dark pool, that's good because it's a dark pool. It's not a public mempool. So if you Michael, you and I, if I'm gonna buy $1 billion of XRP from you, and you say, well, Mutasco, you got a deal, I'll buy it at $3, okay? I don't want to go on Coinbase and sell that, okay? You said, well, let's do the trade on this side. We should be able to do that. That's what we call free market. That's it. That's competition. It heats up. It gives optionality. We do not want to empower these banks, okay? And I don't hate the banks. They can continue to exist. The good news is we have options now. The banks have private clients. They have private rooms. They have private transactions. I still have a JP Morgan account. I didn't close my account because even for all the things I know they do, like Wells Fargo, all that stuff. So when it comes to crypto, I think we get placed at a certain level and they raise the bar so high, it's impossible to cross it. What are they doing? They're trying to kill it. The reason I know they're trying to kill it is because I made a reference earlier on. I said, the Office of the Comptroller of Currency of the United States outlined 7 proposals directed at banks, telling them exactly what they can do with crypto. So you can tell me that the banks are not coming into the business. I'll point that to you. If you go read that, then you know they're in the business. But imagine a world where only the banks can do this crypto trading. So I'm happy that we have options. In fact, I'm happy that there are, Perp DEXs, right, that would operate and allow us. I mean, they literally closed down Signature Bank for the same reason. They wanted to literally collapse crypto. Do you know what happened in CZ? Like, look at this. And this is my last comment. SBF, we will probably never know whether he was a plant. Never know. The CIA may know, I don't know. But we will never find out. You know why I know that? When it was very clear that SBF and his cronies were doing everything. I mean, this guy was hailed above everybody. When the case came clear and everybody had egg on their faces, they specifically said, in fact, the U.S. court said, and the government said, we're going to separate the campaign finance crimes on one side. And we're just going to prosecute this guy, put him behind bars, shut it up, and let's deal with the Bahamas case separately. So the government gets to cherry pick what they want to dig into. You think that is okay? The government gets to, we all saw what happened. Yet the government get to say, we all saw how much money SBF gave to the politicians. But the government has the power to say, you know what? We know the case is won. The guy literally is a fraud. But we're going to prosecute him on this one. and we're just going to keep the campaigns finance thing on the side. You think that is okay? So I'm not saying I'm giving crypto a break. I just feel like we should empower ourselves and be proud that we actually understand this tech and that we have options. These people, they would come learn that from us. They will build on our blockchains, okay? Because they can't recreate it. So that's why I'm usually very fiery on this, because I've seen a lot of things that just doesn't make sense to me. So when I see people innovating and creating solutions, I love it, okay? I posted screenshots. Anybody can go read this. For all the blobbing that I just did, you literally can see this when I post it. You can read it and see why these things are innovations that we need in this space. And we need options. Go ahead, Tyler.
Thanks, Mataska. Thank you very much for that information. And I did go check out those pictures you put in the comment section. I definitely have to look at them more, but I think I actually kind of understood what you're saying. It's like, because you made it basically, it seems like maybe that you brought up an analogy, or you made one. I could be wrong. You can correct me if so. But like, so basically, you're saying like, we the people are like, get this power to hide like what we're doing, hide our transactions, not just like these big banks anymore. Is that correct? What you were kind of saying?
It's not hiding. It's more like there's a word, there's this saying around the AI and crypto space and data and all that, that's called like a privacy and security, right? So
There's
privacy.
personal privacy.
Can you hear me? Like I'm getting.
Yeah, I was saying it's just personal privacy.
Exactly, Wadi. That's it. Like, do you think that you have the right to your own privacy? Right? I read a case. I read a Supreme Court case. It's just funny because a cop pulled up somebody, and they had a mobile phone in their jeans or whatever. And it used to be that a phone couldn't even store pictures. It couldn't store data. I mean, look at the phones we use today. How much information is in it? The law is lagging the technology. So sometimes we may be questioning certain things. It's just that the law itself and the rules that we have today are outdated. And if we're going to sit there and wait for them to be updated to aligned, right? I've referenced a case called Pepe versus United States. That's the guy's name. His name, I don't remember his first name, but I remember the case. It's called Pepe. It's a Supreme Court case, right? It had to do with cell phone data. And in that case, they made references to the third party doctrine, which says that if you go on any platform, like we're here talking right now, you record yourself, you do all that stuff. That third party doctrine is saying that you have no right to privacy as long as you're on a third party platform. Because these third party platforms have gone and wrote the rules under what they call the Communication Decency Act, where they provided them with powers, right? They have moderation power, they have passive power, they have active powers, they can do anything they want, right? So when it comes to blockchains, it's a new way for the people to express their rights under the Constitution. And this is in reference just to the United States, right? Some of these laws need to be updated. And I'll tell you why. There's a book by Justice Roberts. It's called Overruled. If you want, just go read that book too. You understand where I'm coming from, right? I'm not against the rules. I'm not against the law. I'm just saying that sometimes the law is slow, right? And because of the slow nature of it, there are some government officials that would exploit it, right? There's exploitation too in the government. And we know that. So I'm not against anything that I'm just saying. I'm just saying that, is it bad to have options? I think it's good that Hyperliquid is going to run for their money, right?
Hey, real
Because
quick,
we don't know what else they could do.
real quick, Mutasko, definitely watch what I just put up in the nest. I don't know if you saw that came out yesterday, but a great breakdown by Arthur Hayes, why he sold his hype, not because he lost conviction. He still sees huge potential by 2028, but You mentioned Aster in there and some other competition. Basically, it's like a fund manager play. Take profits now. He got in probably super early. Reload at lower, prices later. But watch that video for everybody. Check that out. Check out that little clip. But it's interesting because it builds a little bit more momentum for some of these, competitors. Maybe not a bad strategy. Like if you were early to hype, I'm just talking out loud here. If you were early to hype, you take profits on it now. You're playing with house money to get into whatever the next hot perp DEX could be, right? And then hopefully you win some there, and then see where the dust settles when everything kind of comes back down and cools off, and then you get to see who the real big winner could be from now until, let's say, 2028, right? It's a good strategy. Michael, go ahead, man. We'll close up shop here in a few, guys. But I gotta make a call real quick. But been a great show so far. Michael, go ahead, man.
Hey, I want to say thank you, Zach, for the shout out earlier. And then, man, this space has been great. I love the conversation. I love the knowledge back and forth. I'm just gonna end it with this. So yeah, I trade into meme tokens. I trade into all kinds of stuff, and I get into all kinds of plays. And when I'm talking, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to invest into something that's out there. I just like to see how whatever it is, right? I invest into the shit tokens that are not even going to be here in 5-10 minutes. I know that motherfucker not, but I still talk about it, right? So I just understand the options are always going to be there, and that's great, right? But the thing is just sometimes I look at it like this, especially when you step in Tosco when it comes to social media, or not social media, when it comes to your like your own information. And you guys brought it up maybe a little bit, but this is what I'm going to touch on. There's been proven history in time where people have said that they've gotten stuff and hit it, and no, nobody's going to get this. And over again, things have been hacked or leaked out. I've been victim of that stuff many times by big corporations that's saying all that stuff. And there has not been one thing proven to this day that anybody that comes out with a corporation that says they're going to hide some kind of information that has not came out. 100%. It all does. It's all manipulated and hacked, or just whatever it may be. Like how we're saying about Sam Bankman-Fried might be somebody else put there or whatever. So I look at it like that. The other thing is, yeah, when people are smart and they're building on the blockchain and they're building real world assets, and sometimes maybe when you have, maybe CZ didn't go to court for or jail for something crazy, but when you have like a bad taste in your mouth on somebody, when they're out there, somebody could say that he's manipulating the market, or, dumping and selling, when he's just doing what he's doing, out of everything that he can do in this world and connect to, and that he doesn't connect to all the time. Why the fuck is he connecting to a project? Excuse my language. Connecting to something that is actually blocking, showing sales transactions. You know what I mean? Like, he could have sat there and connected himself to corn, apples, oil, gas, done everything in general. Why are you gonna, like, maybe it's just a coincidence that this company comes out and he's just backing it and supporting it at everything at the same time. But to me, I like to look at things. I support it. I like to see things how grow and adaptation, because we have choices. But crypto and choices was to put it on the blockchain so we can see that transaction. Yeah, maybe you don't want nobody knowing that it's you, but at least we can see it, right? What's going on. So I just like looking at a couple things from a lot of different angles sometimes. It's always agree to agree to disagree, but it's just funny to me how I watch how people move. And time will tell, because some of us, we ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere, right? And it will show how things play out. But I always like to invest. I always like to get to the dollar, and I like to observe things in many different situations. So thank you, Zach, for the room. Matasco, everybody in here. Always been a great conversation. And I'll see you guys on the next Breakfast Club, right? Best space in the damn morning. Well, where's paid? We need paid here. But yeah, but with that being said, Have a good day.
Oh, guys, I posted additional information for you guys regarding this topic. This whole dark pool, and if at least when you educate yourself about it, you would kind of sit in the middle. And that's where I'm at, right? There's bad on each side. I do believe even just yesterday, if you're somebody who tracks Wall Street, there's a website called wallstreet.com. If you go in there, you can slash it by dark pool. Just do dark pool. Just do wallstreet.com/dark pool, and you can kind of see. This is Wall Street, by the way, okay? Uh, it's a very attractive market, and I think Zach said it right. He said, this is business. If you can make money, don't just sit there and watch it from 50 cents to maybe $20, right? That's like you losing money. You're literally losing money. If you can make
100%.
money, move with the trend. CZ's never done anything to me personally, besides other people saying whoever is like literally angry, they probably were trying to steal from somebody too. Some people short the market. Some people try to manipulate the pools. Some people try to pay off. In Wall Street, they have three things. They have radio towers. They have data center co-locations. They have custom chips. The question I ask everybody is, if we don't have dark pools in Web3 on DEXs, okay, dark pools will exist outside of crypto. And when they steal crypto, they will run it on the existing infrastructure. I just gave you 3 infrastructure tools that are used to extract value from retailers. Maybe because our money is dumb money that sits in retirement funds and we sit and hope until we're 65. The smartest people in the room use these tools and milk it all out by the time you retire. If that's okay, good luck riding that moral horse, right? It can be as tall as it wants. I don't want to ride on that horse, right? The horse I'm riding is there's a momentum. People are seeing that there's an opportunity. I posted a chart. I think that percentage has gone up from 9 to about maybe 13%. That is the percentage of transactions on Wall Street today. That's just literally dark pools. You don't know who is on the other end, but the trades are being executed. Would you say that's fair? Maybe not, but it's happening. What's the side of the stock market? In the trillions. And we have, even if we have 10% of that being just dark pools, that's a lot of money.
Hey, Mutasco,
So, yeah.
the whole world's a Ponzi scheme. Just find a way to win within it. I mean,
Exactly. I just want to win, Zach. I just want to win this cycle.
That's just
And
it,
I
right?
will.
I mean, dude, there are people who sit around who talk about how the stock market's manipulated and, oh my gosh, everybody's getting ahead. And then there are the people who ride the waves and get ahead. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I mean, should companies be evaluated where they are? Maybe yes, maybe no, but they are. And so if you were early to Apple, you changed your life. If you were early to Netflix, you changed your life. If you were early to Facebook, you changed your life. If you were early to Bitcoin, you changed your life. Right? And so on and so forth.
I mean, like 5 minutes ago, literally 5 minutes ago, over $2 billion between Meta, Tesla, Alibaba, being traded on just dark pools.
Crazy.
I can't tell you who is doing the trades, but they're happening. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in. I just bought Alibaba 2 days ago. That looks like a great trade, by the way. A great trade. That thing.
I'm hearing some rumors on Grab too. If you want to take a look at that.
Oh, Grab. Are you saying that because I said that in here?
No, I didn't hear it.
I told everybody when it was below $5. I loved it. It was just $6.50 yesterday. So
You're a sharp guy. Grab is like, it's huge. I think there's a lot
massive.
going on there.
When I went to Asia, Mutasco, I saw it firsthand. I was just like, my immediate reaction when I was over there was like, I need to invest in this company. It was literally everything. They do everything. Food, laundry, everything, how you send money, everything. It is the everything app in Southeast Asia. Everything. So, and that amount of people in those areas, Indonesia is the fourth largest country in the entire world. Yeah, Singapore's massive. Yeah, it's crazy. So I love that company, man. I think we're getting that super early. GE Vernova has been my baby too this year. Guys, we still maybe we'll have like a stock space because I am actually probably not a lot of people know that because all I do is talk about crypto on this stuff. But I'm deep into the stock market stuff too, man. I could talk stocks. We can get into it. But yeah, man, GE Vernova's looked unbelievable. I added some Coinbase recently. Alibaba's looked amazing. I just bought more Alibaba 2 days ago. But yeah, loving it, man.
I told you why I'm bullish on that also because of just the energy and the fact that they separated themselves like a subsidiary.
GE
I think this
Vernova,
is
you
a
mean?
yeah
Yeah,
dude.
for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, guys, there's a lot of opportunities in the stock market as well. You just have to be good at research. And I always say there's no excuse today because there's a lot of really good technology options you can leverage to do some really good research. You just have to learn how to prompt. This is very important. You and I can look up the same thing, but we'll get different outcomes. And it all goes back to how you prompt. So go get a prompt engineering certificate. Learn the little tricks. It's a few little tricks, right? You just use it and then you get the best out of it. It's amazing. So
Zach, do you do Forex? I know this is kind of random, but to be honest, the reason I ask is I did Forex before I did anything. And I remember doing paper trading. I remember like these guys wanted $20,000. I'm so glad I didn't give them that, but I'm just curious.
I don't, man. I'm strictly stocks. I own a little bit of gold, not a ton, but mostly just stocks and crypto. But yeah, Mutasco and to everybody, I opened up that spot on Alibaba at 163, and we're up to 178. Look, zoom out to that chart. Look at the 5 year on Alibaba, and tell me you don't absolutely love where that thing could be going. Zoom out to the 5 year on Alibaba. Alibaba is the Amazon of the other side of the world, by the way, for those of you in the United States. Essentially, that's the easiest way to slice it and dice it. Of course, I got my Amazon. I've got my Apple. I've got my. I got some strategy. I'm up on it a little bit, not much right now, but I'll still hold that for a while. Coinbase. I've got my Robinhood. Man, Robinhood's been cruising still. How about Robinhood, man? What a freaking play that was. I didn't catch it as low as you caught it, Mutasco, but I'll take it. It's still a win.
no, there's still a run on it though, to be honest.
I think so too.
Yeah, the thing I like about these stocks is that, especially if you're betting on Robinhood, you just never have to sell it, right? Because you could literally borrow against your stock. It's easy. There's all kinds of options there. You just have to have enough of it, right? And that's why I think Coinbase is kind of priced up a little too much. But if you look at the valuations of companies and you think that it's going to do a lot, then maybe you can get into it. But I'll rather bet on their token whenever they launch that. But right now, I think Robinhood is kind of just leading the way. And I always make sure I listen to the events. The Robinhood Summit that just ended blew my mind. The things that they bring into that app. So they just keep innovating. And I feel like this is our time to pick some of these things. Just like a lot of people caught Apple, Meta, Amazon, and all that. This is a moment where you can see these things like Netflix, for example, right? So you have to catch it low. If you catch it low, you have a very high chance of doing really well. I don't know if you could bring this guy. He's the Open Door guy who's been shilling Open Door a lot. but that's also a good trade, just based on just the interest rates. I do believe that they're gonna push somebody that is gonna bring these rates completely down. I don't think Trump really cares like what happens after he's gone out of administration, but so I'm not gonna bet against him just saying, "Hey, make it easy for people to get back in the market." Literally because of these rates, guys, it's like COVID. Everybody wanted to work, but they told everybody to sit home, and the government was gonna send you a check. We're in an environment where the rates literally keeping people from either selling their homes, because when they sell it, they don't want to get into a new home at a higher rate. So it literally froze the entire housing market, right? If you go into the credit market, it's the same thing. The only people playing in this market is the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs, because they have side doors, right? They get all kinds of, red carpet treatment. But if you're little, you're screwed. So how is that okay, right? You want to freeze the economy that just wants to grow, even though it wants to grow, or you want to at least ease it up a little bit? And I will bet on them easing it up. I think Jerome Powell is just that guy with the 2 weeks notice that just won't let go. And he's just holding it out to keep the administration out of control, right? Because if they ran the clocks on Trump, he wins for somebody else. Who knows? But these guys literally they don't have any skin in your pocket. So if you sit here and you put them on some high horse that, oh yeah, they care about me, they're gonna make the economy great. No, you don't know what you're talking about, right? So because the rates are important, right? A lot of people don't want to trade, don't want to do anything. And majority of them are the average Joes. The average Joes, the mechanic, the plumber, they're gonna get wrecked even more, right? So I'm all for the betting in the right direction. Go where the wave is headed. Trump will get his way, and you want to ask, where should I put my money if he gets his way? In the housing market, in crypto, in risk, whatever. Just think of that, and then try to bet accordingly. You're not going to win all of them.
I loved when Tesla dumped down to 250 back in April, and everybody was running for the hills, and Elon hates Trump and Trump hates Elon. Bro, I bought like 20 shares at $250, and where's Tesla at now? I love buying on that kind of noise, man. When I see all that shit hitting the fan, yes, give me that. Give me the peak fear. I bought the S&P down there too. The S&P dipped down to like 500 back in April.
Who was buying in April? Everybody was running away.
Everybody was running away. I was like, let me buy. Buy. I couldn't hit the buy button
Tesla
fast
forever.
enough.
I went through 3 splits or something like that. Like literally to keep splitting. But you're right about that. I think, if anybody understands this, and I'll post this at some point, there's a really good interview by the CEO of Ford. That was it for me. I shared it with some friends of mine offline who are kind of in the stocks, and it blew their mind, right? And I think people allow hate to overcloud their judgment. The CEO of Ford literally said something about Tesla, and I was like, he gets it. Even him knows that Tesla's lead in the entire, vehicle market it's hard to stop, literally. So he used some terms to describe it, and you can tell that he actually said if they had to catch up with Tesla, it would take them cutting 32% of their workforce. 32% of their workforce. And he can't do that. He calls it the integrated electronic architecture.
Tesla just has too big of an advantage, man. I just and the thing is with Tesla too is people think, oh my gosh, Tesla, electric car company. Guys, they're one of the biggest AI companies in the world. They are not a car company. You can't look at Tesla as a car company. They're an AI company. And to your earlier point, Matasco, we are in the fourth industrial revolution. It is AI, guys. And there are so many big winners in the stock market. There's so much going on in crypto. This is like one of the most amazing times we'll ever see in our lifetimes. Like literally, the biggest opportunities are right in front of us. And I'm not just saying that because it sounds good and like, oh, let's be all gung ho. This is literally the best investing opportunity we'll ever see. I'm telling you, like the entire world is shifting unlike we've ever really seen before at this rate, right? Like you've got to literally go back to the Industrial Revolution to see this kind of innovation this fast, right? The world is completely changing upside down. And so many people don't want to see it. So many people are missing it. They're already missing it and they're going to continue to miss it. And it baffles the hell out of me. It's crazy. I mean, look what Nvidia is done. I mean, look what Tesla has done. Look what Bitcoin has done. I mean, just look at some of the growth that we've seen. And like honestly, I still think this is like first quarter, man, of a 4-quarter game. I think this is first quarter. Like we're in the first quarter of a 4-quarter crazy shift with AI, robotics, blockchain, crypto. I mean, huge opportunities, man. Huge, huge, huge. I like it's kind of like the beta play to Nvidia. I'm watching AMD quite a bit. I know they haven't had like the parabolic growth that Nvidia has, but these ancillary plays like next to the big giants, they're going to do really well too. And a lot of those haven't moved yet in the stock market side. So Tesla's done its thing. I really like XPeng in the Asian market. It's ticker XPEV. There are a lot of these companies that are building, that are doing great things. They're just not getting the recognition. They're not getting the market share right now. But like, look how early we are to this whole EV thing, like this electric vehicle thing. Yeah, Tesla has a lion's share of it, and they're going to continue to do that. But there are a lot of other ancillary pieces here, and other companies that are going to grow exponentially. And you're going to see Tesla type gains, right? And you're going to see Nvidia type gains in the AI sector. That's coming.
The one thing with Tesla that people don't grasp is in the interview, I heard him make a comparison between a regular vehicle today versus a Tesla. He said that in a typical vehicle today, there's over 2,000 moving parts, right? You can do, the engine, the transmission, all the components that you can think about. Can you guess how many parts in a Tesla compared to
I
that
know.
2,000? Yeah. What is it?
It's like 20, 25. I study EV stuff all the time. I'm like trying to be an EV engineer.
Exactly. So you see that difference? That's huge. Yeah.
And you can literally charge it at your house. I know people like, sorry, I'm jumping in. You can continue if you need to, Matasco.
No, go ahead. I like your views. Put it out there.
So, I mean, like, yeah, with electric vehicles, because people will say things like, oh, we need as many charging stations as there's gas stations. You're not going to need that because you'll be able to charge at your house. And I mean, it's literally not a whole lot different than like running your oven. Is everyone going to do that at night? I mean, realistically, probably not. And there still will be many, many charging stations. And honestly, China, I can't even think of what it is, but they're working on it to where it's gonna take some time still. To me, this is how I think of electric vehicles. Cryptocurrency to the current banking system is electric vehicles to patrol cars, and because it's way cheaper. You know how much? Because I own a Tesla. I have a Tesla Model 3 Performance. You know how much I spend on it every week, just a week to charge it? Only like $8. And I don't have to go everywhere. And there's going to be cars that are going to come out that will be able to go to 1,000 miles. And then you look at like China, their Yangwang, they're like, it's now the fastest production car. But there will be a time, I do believe there will be a time where it will be quicker to charge your car fully to 100% than it will be for a gas car to fill up your car. That's going to be probably within the next 10, 15 years or so, because You're gonna need solid state batteries. You're gonna have to, yeah, like China's already in development of that. China is leading the electric vehicle whatever industry by far. Like their cars are amazing. Like people just won't give them credit because they're Chinese and they're electric and blah 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 blah.
No, to your point, I think it's one of the things that people don't actually factor in, like you just said. Who in this room has ever bought a car, a regular car, and got a letter in the mail, you got a recall, and somehow you have to, figure out your day to get the vehicle to the shop, to get them to fix it. Maybe something just little, okay? We've never had a car company where you literally send out an update, okay? And all it is a click and your vehicle is back to normal. It's like an iPhone. How many times that Apple sends out, updates? Tesla can do that.
Yeah,
Maintenance cost, yeah. I think people are underestimating it. I've held it forever and I will continue. If I will load up on this at some point even more. But you just have to know that these are things that you can't. I mean, for anybody, I think Zach, you recommended this too. There's a book called 0 to 1. If you just read that book, Peter Thiel, he laid out a whole roadmap in that book. I don't know if this book is free, but there's a book also on Elon. It's called Elon Vision and Elon Method. These are two separate books. If you just want to get out of the noise, read these 3 books that I recommended, and you understand what is brewing in the entire ecosystem that Elon. Yeah, people hate him, love him. I don't care. Because Elon has never done anything personally to me. So nobody's going to hire me for free to go hate on somebody, okay? But besides that, this is business. If you think electric vehicles are the future and you think you can make money and pass on some really valuable stocks to your kids where they can borrow off of from a valuable company like Amazon today, go for it, right? Put the hate aside and just go for it.
I agree. And speaking of Elon Musk, sorry if I'm jumping in, Zach, and if you want to end the show, I'm so sorry, but another EV CEO I think is amazing to listen to, probably just as much as Elon, is RJ Skirnage. He's for Rivian. He's extremely smart. And I don't know, like I sometimes even like listening to him more than Elon. I'm not saying like Rivian's going to overtake Tesla. Tesla, they're so good at is having good cars that aren't crazy high price for an electric vehicle. Because yeah, I mean, a lot of them right now are kind of like a lot of money, and they don't. Oh, I don't even know. I could go on about EV stuff all day, so I better just be quiet. But RJ Skirnage, I would definitely check him out. I think he's amazing. He is super, super smart.
I think Zach should customize the space in the future where you have sessions for specific stuff. I think it's very valuable because there are people in these rooms that they have specific, expertise in certain areas that they can actually share some, and people can learn from it. I think so. That's a tip for Zach. But I like what you're saying. To be honest, I'm all over it, and I usually get my knowledge from just books. I pick and choose specific books, and I read. And if you want to hide valuable stuff from people, put it in a book because most people don't have time for it. And if you find an edge, go for it. And I think that's where I find my drive and excitement from because some of these things are laid out so clear. And then you have the world just literally debating on nonsense, right? Culture war, some nonsense, stupidity. Some of these politicians are actually going to go out of date, right? Some of them are still like, we're in an era where AI is literally displacing people's jobs, and people are talking about culture. And you're wondering if these people are actually qualified to lead, right? Because if we don't do it, China will do it. If we don't do it, there are some countries that will lead America in this area. But because we have the biggest military budget, doesn't mean that we can just, blow up other people. I really think we should challenge some of these politicians who are distracting us from the real stuff and getting our tensions all wild up on some nonsense. I'm not saying those things are not valuable, but I think that you actually do very well if the politician will at least help you understand that investing actually can help you, right? Change your financial situation. Because that job is not a guarantee or whatever it is. So I love technology. In fact, this moment in history, I'm sure my kids they're lucky because I'll make sure that I pass, I model them to have that type of mindset. There's no way you're going to see me on the street protesting. If you want to protest, maybe you're better off learning prompt engineering because that would be the most powerful protest. Because if AI becomes a thing, you can become a valuable person in your company and get more money where you can go to vacations. I don't want anybody handing me any ticket or any whatever nonsense. I want to work hard for it. And if you're a politician, you should actually make regulation easier for me to be able to invest. And I think I asked Clifford this yesterday. I said, if you read the letter from the White House, the last part of the letter was the White House was telling the SEC and Congress to move forward with the bill that I've been shouting about, which is supposed to disrupt what we call the accredited investor rules. It's called the Equal Opportunity Act. Literally, this thing passed overwhelmingly in Congress, and it's sitting there. They could literally get it through and get the president to sign this into law, and it would start to change the criteria. Today, you have to have 1 million, but with that bill, when it becomes a law, the criteria changes from day one, from knowledge, from money to knowledge. So now, if I know a lot about crypto, maybe there has to be a way for me to just be able to invest in it versus, you have to have $1 million to invest in, XAI or, whatever, SpaceX or, this is why I love the space. I mean, I can buy XPL, which is launching tomorrow. I think it's a big deal. Tether is going to be massive, massive. It will probably be the second largest bank or third largest bank in the world, if you think of it. So I'll bet on that. I'll bet on that. And that's what's happening in front of us, where you can buy it. You no longer have to sit there and wait. You literally can swap into it and own it. And they're gonna have a card that would allow you to be able to do whatever you want with USDT. I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing for society. It can help people's mental state if they're doing well economically. What they don't like us talking about is economics. What they like us talk about is how I don't like Michael. Okay, give all the million reasons why I hate Michael or I should hate Michael, but I don't. I love Michael. I think Michael vibes with me. He learns the stuff that I love to learn. So I'm aligned with Michael. That's it. I mean, the politicians get aligned when they all vote on one side. So why can't we get aligned? As if you love crypto, I love crypto. You should love me. That's it. That's why I love everybody. Until you attack me personally, I wouldn't. I would love you generally. So.
Checking back in on the Crypto Breakfast Club page. Make sure you guys share this page some love too. Follow it if you don't already. Retweet the space too. I'm going to make a taco or something, but we can keep it going. I just had to get up from the desk. We're still live on all the platforms too, which is cool. So
I knew Zach left the phone at the hotel.
What's
I was
that?
like, I said, I knew you left the phone at the hotel. So the crypto breakfast. Remember that day when you said that? I was so happy. I was like, oh god.
That was crazy. Yeah. That was yeah, that was wild. Yeah, we went out and about. I think I was in New York that day. I can't remember, but oh man. Yeah. I do like live streaming these too because people do like listening on the YouTube side, which is kind of cool. But any other companies you're looking at, Mutaska? Like ones that are kind of going under the radar in the stock market side?
So far, though, I'm more focused on just directionality of sectors. The housing market, for example, I think right now a lot of people are kind of depressed in it because there's a lot of trouble brewing. So if you can find hidden gems around that, like tech, this is why I mentioned Grab, because when anything that has to do with technology is going to do well the next 5, 10 years. So if you bet right along the lines of, I mean, Grab, for example, I don't know if you saw it, but there's some partnerships with Uber, and there's I don't know that this was a thing that is happening. You guys heard Elon talk about robo taxis, and he's been on a road show literally explaining the efficiency benefits that will come with this, and people are still underestimating it. And for some reason, I did some digging and deep dives on it, and I found out that this company has already partnered with as you guys know, the self-driving economy is also growing. So when you have like the Uber version, like Uber and Lyft version of that, think about that for a second, right? Imagine just having mobility, even the concept of car ownership, the economics of car ownership. Today, you buy a car, it's literally a liability. You drive out of the lot, and, God forbid, you could run into something and it's totaled. A lot of these things, I mean, think about how many people, most accidents today, it's literally somebody on the phone, either watching TikTok and driving, or they need to get this message out and then they slam into somebody. People are underestimating
True.
how
Human
much.
error.
Yep. Yep. So if we eliminate that, right? I mean, I always try to compare it to like if you type in a message, or you guys remember Trump's tweets and Trump 1.0, where people are like checking spellings, grammar, and all that crap. Um, Today, you can actually just filter out all of that. So you tweet once and that's it, right? So in the vehicle market, think about insurance, that entire insurance market, okay? Think about the level of undistracted driving that could happen, and how better it would be, and who is going to be benefiting on the other side, right? So I may be investing in like an insurance company, for example, because they get to keep most of their float. Because if there's less accidents, there's less claims, and there's more float, and they get to invest and scale more, right? That's what we see in these tech companies. All they need to do is announce that, hey, we're investing in this sector. The R&D thing is no longer even talked about a lot. They just need to make an announcement that they have a partnership with this. They're buying more GPUs, or they're doing something, and the stock just goes up. So this is a very interesting era, very, very interesting. And I don't want to waste it trying to do anything destructive in my life. I want to give it all. Even if I don't win, I know I gave it all. I will regret it if I didn't. And then it turns out to be the right thing, right? So I do believe that if you're coming in here and you're listening, I will encourage you, challenge yourself, right? Get a Robinhood account or a Fidelity, or there's all kinds of brokerage accounts now. And the fact that the deregulation is allowing certain things that would not have been even talked about to be even close to investing in crypto, to even touch it. Now you can go on these brokerage accounts. If you're passionate about crypto and Bitcoin, invest along that line. And I promise you, you're going to do well, right? If you're afraid of it, I mean, just buy Bitcoin and don't worry about the price you buy at. Just buy it. If you believe that Bitcoin is going to finally make its way, I mean, Deutsche Bank that just did a report on this. Central banks actually probably at some point, and we talked about this, right? I referenced the Basel III rules framework. It's what it's called, Basel III Digital Asset Framework. If you read that particular document, you see what I'm talking about. Gold literally today has zero risk, zero. It's equivalent to treasuries and cash. So, but the weighting on Bitcoin is ridiculous. And I know why it is, because they manipulate people. Until they get their positions, they won't release a report saying it's okay to hold Bitcoin as a treasury asset in a bank balance sheet. They won't say it. Why would they? Because they have the power to manipulate you. They don't have to tell you. But I'm here right now, and I know that Bitcoin is going to be the most significant, important asset. If you understand gold, you understand the problems of gold, you will understand Bitcoin. You don't need to read the white paper. You just have to understand what gold is and then understand what Bitcoin is. And that's all you probably need to buy it. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to go out every day and work. You don't need to plow the snow. None of, all you need to do is buy and hodl it. I've said this before. My Bitcoin buy at 36, it's usually dated, which is beautiful. I look at the date, I look at the time I bought it. And if Bitcoin has to go back down below 36,000 for me to even be worried about it. Do I think it will probably go down there? I don't know. I don't care. I don't care what price I buy it at. I just think that it's an important asset to have in your portfolio. Now, once you get Bitcoin, you can buy anything else you feel like you understand well, because you need to balance your portfolio, right? It's also part of risk management. So I'm excited. The energy in me is that the world has blessed us with an opportunity. A majority of the people, there's actually a website called the Henley, I think it's called the Henley, forgot it. It actually tracks all the crypto globally, the whole world. It's probably the only website, when I remember the name, I'll share it. I go there often just to check globally how many people have made millions or billions or whatever, right? And if you look at that metrics, I actually have it. I'll post it here for people to go look at. But it's fascinating. It literally tracks crypto as an asset class, its adoption, how much better people are doing. They have all kinds of reports about the Fed, money, inflation, all that stuff. It's a very beautiful website with a lot of resources for you to look at. But if you were even questioning crypto at all, if you go on that website, you walk away with some education, and that will help you a lot.
Love it. Yeah, I'm right with you there, man. I just think there's not enough that you can do to make sure you're invested in all of these big AI tech companies. And I still think, like, even the big ones that have already had their big runs, I still think we're early to those, Mutaska. I really do. I mean, it's still early because we're still just seeing all this stuff kind of play out. And now, like, all of these big tech giants, that have already kind of been established, now look what they're doing. They're all making a play at AI. So now it's kind of like you have to reassess all these big companies. Okay, who's leading in the AI race of the Apples, the Amazons, the Netflix, the Facebooks, OpenAI, all of this, right? So it's like you almost have like another round of big opportunities with the same companies, because now they're all being forced to kind of innovate yet again because of AI. You know, and honestly, so far, Apple has been lagging. Apple's lagging big time. We'll see what they end up doing, but they have been struggling to keep up with some of the other big players. You know, but it'll be fun to watch, man. I think there's a lot of opportunity, obviously in crypto for sure, but yeah, outside of crypto, just understanding kind of where this thing's going with AI, robotics. It's exciting for sure. If anybody else wants to jump in, go ahead. I'm going to eat my taco. Cliff, you're up here. What's up?
The website is henleyglobal.com. Just go on that website. You kind of see some really good information. It's a good kind of metric in terms of the bubble that we live in. We sometimes can feel like we're in our own bubble, but globally there's a lot of things playing out. It's almost like thinking about how the internet was adopted globally. That's what we're seeing right now.
Love it.
If you go on my feed, you see I posted a few books too. Google did a book. Ahmad, who was behind Stability AI, who moved on to create his own company, also did. I mean, that book kind of blew my mind, but it laid out the implications of AI and why you should actually invest in it. Because if you understand how significant it's going to disrupt this economy, you want to bet on it, right? So OpenAI and any company that is looking to go public or, making it public, listen to Mark Zuckerberg also. We have very few founder CEOs in the stock market today. Very few. And founder CEO is like somebody that created a company and still sitting there as a CEO. It's different from, hey, we hired a CEO. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's true.
if you think about how much money that the space is offered people and you compare it to fiat, there's a huge difference, right? There is a huge difference. And I can only imagine if Bitcoin gets to 200,000, how more expensive this is going to be, We're in the bottom, and this is how many people are getting impacted. If you go on that website, I just posted in the comment section, you can kind of see it for yourself. Just go on there, and the first page you see is the metrics across the world, like how many people actually own crypto globally. They filter it out. I think it's quality data. You can kind of start there and see. I always like to read the reports that they put in. They put some really good reports out there. It just helps you kind of frame your mind that you're not here with because everybody sees you here and they think, oh yeah, it's pump fun, crypto is a scam. And what they don't tell you is, hey, what's the signal? You're telling me the noise, but what is the signal? You're not telling me anything. If all you're focused on is a scam, is this, is that, is this, right? RWA is going to be a big deal. Tell me about that. If you're in real estate and you're not looking into that, I think you're a dying business. You're just dying slowly, right? You just took in poison and you're dying slow. You can go ahead and do that, but if you're in real estate and you're not looking into RWA, you have a problem coming at you, because the world is changing around you. A lot of people don't want to wait for a taxi. They literally want to just get on an Uber and get around. Okay? They don't want to go into renting a car rental to get a passport out, to do all that stuff. People want to move at the speed of the internet. And if you're not,
I was listening to an interview yesterday. It's a guy I follow on X. He's a really good follow, actually. Here, let me show I'll put his he's like a retail hold on, I'm trying to do too many things at once here. So I'm gonna follow him from the Breakfast Club too. His name's Amit. Actually, I'll just post. Let me see. Here, if you guys want to go check out a video later, go check this out. Amit's a really good follow, and so is Dan Ives as well. Really good conversation about his thoughts on Palantir, Tesla, Apple, just AI, the big revolution. And Dan at one point in there, I think it's like a 30, 40-minute thing or whatever. I was listening to it in the background. This is the kind of stuff I like to just listen to if I'm checking emails and stuff like that. He made a reference point. I thought it was really interesting. He made a point. He's like, you want to know like why people are missing this big, like the boat here and like all the boomers and they don't see it. He's like, they can't wrap their head around that kids being born today will never have a driver's license. Think about that. Kids being born today may never have a driver's license. That's wild. Think about that. And he was making some really interesting points. It's a really good watch. It's real light and easy too. But they talk about some great ones, some great projects. Mutasco, that's where I first heard about Grab as an investment, and then it triggered in my brain. I'm like, oh, I was over there. I took Grabs everywhere. And the Grab Ubers, they're like Ubers over there. You hop on the back of a bike in Singapore. It's kind of freaking scary, actually, because you're just zipping through the streets on these little Grab bikes. But when I first heard Amit talk about it months and months ago, maybe even a year ago now, I'm like, oh, yeah, that was that company, Grab, that I had to download to freaking order food. That was the company that I had to download to do this and do that. That was the company. That was the app I had to get. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. And started looking into it. I was listening to Amit. Amit's really good with stocks. He was very early to Robinhood too. Really good follow, both those guys. And that's a really good conversation if you guys want a little something to listen to. And, you know.
There's also an interesting stats that every 16-year-old actually was born when the first Bitcoin white paper was published. So think about what that kid is going to do, right? Every 16-year-old that you know today. So
that's really interesting, actually. Yeah, man. I mean,
you think that person is going to do fiat?
Right.
That kid.
Think he's going to invest in gold or silver? Yeah.
Probably be lithium. So the rare minerals.
Yeah.
I mean, Grab has like 46 million monthly transaction users, 46 million, and it's growing. So
that's crazy.
That's monthly. So
let me, it was, when I went into the app for the first time, I literally just was looking on like the sidewall of all the things you could do. I'm like, dude, this is like crazy. You could do anything and everything. Let me find a list actually, because it's interesting. Here's just some. Okay, so the Grab app is the super app in Southeast Asia, offering a range of services, including ride-hailing, like Just Grab or Grab Car, food and grocery delivery, package delivery, cashless payments, access to financial services such as insurance, bill payments, airtime top-ups. It also allows users to book rides with various vehicles, track their deliveries, make secure payments, earn reward points for their transactions, do their laundry services. I remember that was on there. It was crazy. Yeah, it's just so much more broad than Uber, though, you know, and look how successful Uber has been.
Uber is kind of introducing a lot of other things too. They're going more like I remember listening to the CEO. I like to just listen to them directly, lay out the vision, and whether it plays out or not, it gives you like an insider scoop of what they're thinking. And I believe that I think there was a point he made, and this was 2 years ago, that in the Uber app they're working on a new. I don't know if they've had it introduced yet, but they did it. They did some statistics, and for somebody, I have a friend I met way back through a conference, and that person happens to be somebody that was early. He was kind of pitched Uber, the CEO, and he shared something which is now public. Everybody knows Uber's beginning was that they literally hired a bunch of hackers who literally hacked into a lot of like companies' data to scrape information about their travel. So the whole concept initially wasn't about like catch a ride. It was more like how do we sell this to companies to cut down their travel budget. Literally, this is facts, by the way. And they actually got investigated by the FBI. You can look this up. But the long point of this is what the CEO said was that he said they've done some research on a lot of like people working from home, a lot of people who don't actually have jobs, like maybe stay at home dads or stay at home moms. And some people are confused. Some of them are nurses, doctors, or maybe some people have some expertise, but they give up their career just to take care of their kids. Now, what they're introducing, and I don't remember the name he used. It's either already introduced or not. But he said we want the future to be where if you're a nurse, you can just go on the app instead of like choosing to drive. You can actually opt in a service where you can get paid, right, to provide your expertise, something like that, right? So there's a large market for it. I see somebody's hand. Is it Crypto Val? Go ahead.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Zach. I'm regular here. I'm here every single day, every single morning. I like what I'm hearing about Grav. I just put a recurring investment on Robinhood for $100 every other Thursdays. So I'm like what I'm hearing about it, you know. So I decided to put in a recurring investment on it. Thank you.
Well, do some digging on it as well. Just I shared some websites where you can go and just kind of pull up the ticker. It has free services where you can literally see metrics like the unit economics of Grab, for example. How many customers do they have? What are they investing in? What strategic partnerships are they engaging in? This would drive the the demand for the price of the stock. But long term, you don't want to bet against network effect kind of platforms, right? So it's more from an objective data view, but there are macro implications that could like throw that off, right? So there's a guy called Brad Geitzner. He's on the All In podcast. Look him up, by the way. Don't take what we're saying. Listen to him speak about it. He had some investment, and I don't know whether he's out of it now or if he's still in there. But this is the same guy. He's the head of Altimeter. It's like a hedge fund VC kind of company. Very smart dude. Like he's done really well. I like him and Bill Galley. They're kind of all partners. They kind of talk a lot about technology investments and all of that. And I like listening to them and the things they post because these are people that they don't have to share that information. Okay, they've done really well in their lives, and they're just at a stage where they're sharing, right? And so I learned from them. And one of the things I would say is this: Altimeter had a really large stake in Meta when they were Facebook. And how I got to know him was through that letter. He wrote a famous letter to Mark Zuckerberg that says that get fit. That's literally the title of the letter. It says Get Fit. And in the letter, it was the time that Facebook was going all in on the metaverse, right? They were spending, doing all kinds of stuff, right? And in the letter, he talked about too many hiring or maybe too many employees, too much spending, and zero urgency. So the title of the letter was more like Get Fit, and the Get Fit for him was that pick something and go urgent on it. And I think Mark Zuckerberg listened, and the stock. Does anybody remember? I think it was Jim Cramer was crying about Facebook. Literally did a huge dip at one point. I think it was 2022, uh, and then it turned around. Right? These things don't happen in a vacuum. So what I'm saying is, don't take what Zach and I are saying about it.
It was with Costco. It was right when they changed their name too. Remember?
Exactly. Yeah.
It was right when they changed their name, and they were like, "Oh, this was a terrible decision," and they're going into the metaverse, and nobody knows what the metaverse is. Yeah, it caused all this confusion and craziness. And now look at it; it's like nothing even happened.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And
all
you
one
have to
thing
do
I
is
just read on Grab, they had a strategic partnership announcement not too long ago with WeRide, which that is robo taxis in Southeast Asia. So that was a big move that they made. But yeah, I mean, listen, I love the company Crypto Val. I mean, I've done some due diligence on it after hearing about it for a long time, and was honestly waiting to buy it under $5. So and once that happened, that's when I mentioned it on the space. I think back in August, and I picked some up at like 480, 490, somewhere in that range. Still think it's undervalued. I mean, at this level, if they continue on their path, I mean, if you zoom out to their max chart, they've been kind of on a slow grind up since coming all the way down to like $2, give or take. Back in 2021, the stock, now that obviously things were crazy back then, the stock was up near $15. And they've done a lot since then too. So we'll see. I mean, and the other thing that helped me kind of invest into it, I saw it firsthand. Like I saw how like necessary it was as somebody just being over in Southeast Asia for 2 weeks. Like it was essential that I had it on my phone, So that was another thing that gave me like the bout of confidence. It's like I had real experience with it. What's the old saying? Invest in companies that you use, or invest in products that you use every day, or whatever. Like if I lived there, I would use that probably daily almost. You know what I mean? So like that was a big trigger for me.
I literally told my kids. This was last year. We had a conversation about investment, and they were trying to ask me like, what is it? I don't know what we're doing that we talked about. So I wanted to help them understand. So I said, because they watch Disney Channel a lot. They watch all kinds of, kids like watch stuff. So I said, so think about it as how many times do you go down there and watch the Disney stuff? They said a lot. And I said, so when you say a lot, you want to own the stock because you watch it. You watch Netflix a lot. You want to own. Do you shop at Costco? You want to own. So I think that's what you're saying. Like if you've seen it and if you've used it, then, it's almost like what I said about Apple, right? When Apple first launched the first iPhone, it was, and I think Obama actually said this recently also. This was the most significant part of some of the stuff that I heard him say, that he literally had Steve Jobs, right? That was even before he became a senator or something like that. And Steve Jobs told him, he said, we are about to launch a product and it's going to be revolutionary. It will change the world. Guys, this is even before the iPhone got introduced to the world. And somehow Obama kind of, through campaigning and whatever, he had this message sent to him. And he said, when he got out of the meeting, I think some of the people that worked for him at the time, he told them, just make sure that the information you just heard stays here. The information cannot go out. So what I'm saying is with Apple, The first day the iPhone was introduced, there were two people wearing two hats. One was an investment hat, and another one was like, I am super excited. I can't wait to use this phone, right? Who do you want to be? You want to own the phone and own the stock, or you just want to buy the phone and not own the stock? Because if you did, where's Apple today and the multi-trillion-dollar market cap? So that's how I view these things. Like Coinbase, for example. Do you use Coinbase? Do you use Robinhood, right? Do you have a skin in the game? Do you own the stock? That's how I look at this. So if it goes to zero, at least I tried, right? It's not like, oh, Mutasco said Robinhood is a great stock and I bought it, right? If you're doing that, then you're doing it wrong, right? Just do some research. Also, what we're giving is more a signal. But I've done a lot of, I can't speak to this on spaces because, I like to do a lot of literally stupid stuff, right? I do a digging like a mad. If I'm gonna go detail by detail on what I know about this, there's literally a point that they made about AVs, like automated vehicles, right? The self-driving vehicles. Let me give you statistics. A normal vehicle driven by a human every single mile, there's what we call unit economics. If you find a tech company that is like a platform, try to do some research on the unit economics. It gives you insight into, is this company going to be profitable or not? It's not the only indicator, but it gives you a signal on like, are they betting in the right direction? And the AV, which is the autonomous vehicles, the market itself, when it comes to cost, compared to a human-driven vehicle, right? It's like 0.85 per mile cost versus 0.51 per mile. So every mile driven, that's how much money is burned per mile. It's almost like buying IBIT ETF and not thinking that IBIT charges a fee to sell you that stock. So are you better off buying a stock that nobody is taking a fee underneath? Which one would you do better on? So when you think about Grab, think about the unit economics, the areas they're going into, and I think Zach talked about the We Ride. They're going into AI ride, is what they call it, AI ride, whatever that means. There's like these AI integrations allow for what we call the in the shipping industry or the logistics industry, we call it ship route optimization, right? Imagine a driver just driving around burning gas and not knowing because they don't know where to drop the item, right? If you know where to drop it at the right time, the speed to revenue is faster. So if you're looking at stuff like this and you want to buy into it, do some digging. I think the numbers are fascinating. It's literally a cooker. And you don't want it being at the top where you're buying, like $8 or $20, and you're buying at that price. You could still make money if it goes to 100. But if you find undervalued stocks that are betting into the future, nobody talks about them, but you want to do your research and grab a bag, right? So I own some of it just after I did my research on it. So I'm not telling you something that I don't have, but it's a risk too. So just bear in mind, it could go to zero, but it's hard for me to see that. But that's not a non-zero possibility, right? So so take it for what it is. Not financial advice. It's more just we're just sharing some knowledge and signal and anything, but not like pump fund, right? We're not saying degen or it's just in the stock market there are opportunities too. Are you looking into it? Or what? I listen to 3 hours, sometimes 2 hours of like they have what they call the Tesla investor events, right? These things are on YouTube, by the way, free of charge. You don't have to pay nothing to listen to it. And this is events where you have the supply chains, executives, the engineers, the designers, even sometimes Elon himself. the battery technology engineers, specialists, they come out and they speak about the things they're doing within the Tesla ecosystem. If you watch these things, like, yes, people are going to say, well, Elon is crazy, or what. Put that aside. If you just pay attention and do, but most people don't have 3 hours to do that. So it's very clear that the person actually missed that germ or that information. So they're just making judgment based on emotion and hate and something else. But that's where I come from. When I speak about something, I've actually taken the time to look into it. Now, I could be wrong in my judgment, which is fine. I can learn from it. But what I will not do is, if you tell me something I've never heard about it, promise you, if it's intriguing, I will dig into it. And sometimes I find something, right? So I encourage everybody, if you're here and you're hearing stuff, that's why I post stuff too in the comment section. If you find something interesting, you don't even need to use Grok or ChatGPT or start using it. The more you use it, the easier it gets. You get across, you draw a line, you start from the learning curve, right? It's almost like getting a new job. The first few months, you're just taking from the company because they're paying you, but you're not actually providing a lot of impact. And then you get to a point where you're giving to the company. At some point, you plateau. You're no longer taking, you're not giving. So you're like in a balance. If you don't pivot from there, you know what comes next, right? You start to decline. I think a lot of these people in Congress, they're in that stage. Yet they make laws and rules. They dictate the economy. We're saying we love crypto. They're like, crypto is a scam. We're going to kill it. We love Bitcoin for the past 10 years. No, it's a scam. And they locked up RAS, whatever, right? And now we have the same product, Binance is doing that in Nigeria. And there's millions of people using it, literally trading between each other. I mean, somebody described Silk Road was literally, if I have a piece of bread and I'm going to sell it to you, I will mail the bread to you because we agreed at a price. But what Silk Road did, they started with no escrow, no verification to introducing that to protect the other person on the other end. But it's P2P. If I have a vehicle, I want to sell it, I own it. I can go on there and list it. If you say yes, it's like Craigslist, right? But the way that you get to trade safely is through escrow. I have the car, I deliver it. Once you get the car, I don't get paid until there's confirmation that you got the car, right? So it creates some safety. Yet the government, somehow, they cherry pick. Yeah, they're selling drugs. Okay, yeah. Eliminate the drugs. Or they're trafficking this. Okay, I call it tension economics, right? They pick and choose what gets people wild up. This is bad, kill it. There's a documentary called The Rise and Rise of Bitcoin. I always reference it because a friend shared it with me and I loved it. Because if you go back and watch that documentary, there's a part in the documentary where this guy who believed in Bitcoin, it went from $1 to $10. And he was like, everybody was excited. And he's like, he's like a techie, right? You could go, he went down his basement. He was showing his kid, he has all these CPUs literally mining Bitcoin. And he was like, people don't understand it. People don't understand it. I don't know where that guy is today. I mean, this thing was like $1. I encourage you, if you haven't watched the documentary, go watch it. It's called The Rise and Rise of Bitcoin. Literally, The Rise and Rise of Bitcoin. It's free on YouTube. If you watch that, you kind of understand where we're at today with this technology. And then, you can start to bet on it and know it's not going anywhere. It will not go anywhere. Some of these politicians will leave and Bitcoin will still be here. Crypto will still be here. So that's why we share the information. So take it for what it is. Like, I keep sharing Open Door. I think it's undervalued just based on what I know and what I've researched on it. I keep researching it, but it's a tech stock, literally a tech stock. But it's like I've done all kinds of simulations on this, right? Compared it with the next big competitor in the market. It's called Compass, right? I've compared it with Rocket Mortgage. I've compared it with like, okay, what does it look like if this is an innovative company? Forget about all the mismanagement and all the stuff that happened. Now they're changing stuff. They hired a new CEO. They're doing all these things, and then the government is about to stimulate the housing market. If demand goes up, will they benefit from it, right? And the data all points to that, right? So I would, I'll buy it, betting that if it does well, I'll make some money off it, right? So some of these things are just sharing. You don't have to buy it, obviously. What I always encourage is ignore what I say, just go research it, right? Do some validation yourself. And when you're able to make a conclusive statement on whether you should go in or not, that's on you, right? It's not on me or Zach or anybody. So take it for what it is, and it's free.
Aster,
I'm looking at
right now.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Val.
I'm looking at Grab right now on Grok. They're pretty much Uber in the Southeast Asia. They do food deliveries. They have a subscription option of it too. They do lending. They do insurance. It's big. It's pretty much Uber. I'm loving it. So, yeah. Thanks, Matasco.
You see what you just did? How much time did it take you, right? I love that.
20 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So they're called the digital asset treasury companies speed to ticker. The speed to ticker is they're using the side door. It's a public company. It's trading at $1, $1 million trading volume a day. And you're like, it's a dead company. Well, they're gonna do a reverse merger. And then it's like, oh, they're gonna boost it up with Bitcoin, or they're gonna boost it up with Ethereum. Should you bet on it? That's a question that needs a million answers. But if you can dig into it, today you don't have to do a lot of like, oh my gosh, I need to call the New York Times, the Financial Times, and get some random journalist who would do the research and then filter out. They do what they call smell test. They pick and choose what they publish. By the time it gets to you, the smell is gone, right? Now you have AI in your hands. Literally every single one of us has a brick in our pocket. And that brick is a smart brick, right? Literally a brick that you can use to do PhD level research. Let that sink in for a second. Literally, you can do research at a level that you wouldn't have been able to do if that tool didn't exist. And I think Zach mentioned it that, like people, just things that people would charge you for, right? A lot of people are getting disrupted right now, a lot. And it's not easy. There's a lot of psychological implications that comes with it, right? Imagine the expert financial advisor that now literally seeing the 20 years of labor getting slipped away by ChatGPT, right? You can do all kinds of complex computation using these AI tools. That's how good they're getting, and they get better every single day. And the better you use it, the better it gets. Isn't that a beautiful? So it's a choice. People can choose to use it or they can ignore it. And very soon the world will ignore you. And you might not be able to handle that. So that's why I think it's important to just share. So anybody listening, just try it. There's no pain in it. Just try it, and then you will find out. You will literally see why I'm excited. because you're like, oh, I see why Mutasco is so, because it's beautiful. It's literally beautiful. I tell you guys my crypto journey. When I first started, I will only read. I always mention Benzinga. Benzinga was a newspaper or whatever. I read like, oh, some random journalist says, oh, Floki or Shiba just went to 1,000,000%. I'm like, how didn't I see that? But I'm reading it late, right? I'm reading it late. These LLMs, their job is predictive analytics. Predictive analytics. So you can actually, if you know how to prompt, it can cut your time to research to less than a day. Right? Things that you would have to like, I have to read this paper, I have to read that paper, I need to subscribe to this paper, I need to do that. By the time you're done, you've lost your track, right? So that's why I said prompt engineering is key. Learn prompt engineering, and you have the right tools to get the right results from these AI tools. But remember, I'm doing what they call augmented intelligence. If you are a crypto influencer, you know your field, right? So if I'm not, what you could get using AI will be much better than me. Now, I've done supply chain for the past 18 years, professionally. If I'm using it for something specific to that, and you're not, what I'm gonna get from it is different. So, like a nurse, if she's been doing it for 10 years or 20 years, if she's gonna leverage AI, what she gets is different from somebody who's not a nurse. So we will go through what we call, I think, I don't remember the guy's name, but he called it the augmented intelligence era. You have people with expertise who are leveraging AI to stay relevant. And we'll go from there to the era of what he called the machine intelligence, where you can delegate everything to the machine, right? It's like, your vehicle today that's not a Tesla, you have, cruise control, right? I mean, anybody use cruise control in their car before when you're going on a long journey? It needs some attention, right? If you put it on, you have to watch the speed limits, okay? So you're tapping in and tapping out. But with a Tesla, you can set the speed, you can do all kinds of things, right? And just go to sleep or do your work, and it will get you there from point A to point B. That's what I'm talking about. So for us to get there, we would have to go through that use of the cruise control in your car, your old car, before you say, well, let me hand it over to the machine, and it would do all the work. But this is how beautiful this technology is. And a lot of people are not even there yet with it, which is fine because we have time. So, but if you're starting now, I think plant that tree now, and I'm sure you're going to be fine.
Hey, I just want to mention something real quick. This is Zach still on the CBC page. I'm going to be joining Mario Nafal in a big roundtable later this afternoon at 3 p.m. I'm not quite sure exactly where it's going to be broadcast. I'm guessing right on his X page. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I think it's going to be a conversation about RWA, AI kind of emerging, as top sectors in crypto and maybe some other topics. So super pumped about that. He reached out. So I think it's at 3 p.m. Eastern. Just be on the lookout on my main timeline. I'll post about it too once I have some more details, but it's some type of roundtable conversation. I'm not quite sure if it's a space just yet or live stream or both. Might be both, but 3 p.m. Eastern. So we'll be doing that. So excited about that.
Talk about AV&T there. As you know, AV&T.
I'm gonna pump our packs.
The other side of AV&T is that you probably don't know this already, is that there's something around you know how we now have layer ones that are specific to certain things, like DPIN layer one or
Yeah, yeah.
RWA layer one. You know what I mean? So this PEP DEX is more. It's literally going to end up being customized to RWA. So if you believe in the Boston Consulting Group $9 trillion industry prediction, it'll be a long, valuable hold, to be honest. They could always fumble the bag. I always put that at the back of my mind. But this is, as a trade, the momentum is right. The sector they're tapping into is right. And I see the data. I see a lot of data. If you go on rwa.xyz, and then you see all the institutional grade RWA protocols and companies that are building, they need a market, right? They need a market. So
I just picked some up this morning at like 202. Looks like we're at 216 right now, so that's nice. So it's a perp DEX, Mutasco, right? But it's just built for RWAs.
that is what the Coinbase team, as you know, they want to optimize base as much as possible. The speed, the cost, the scalability, and that's what I've researched and found. And there's different links to that where it appears that that's the pivot.
But you can, but what's cool with this one, and I think what separates it, right, is you can also trade like gold or silver or the SPY, right?
Yeah, yeah.
ETFs. I wonder if they'll also add securities to like just stocks.
They will. I mean, think about it. Coinbase is probably one of the most. Brian is literally sleeping in DC. So when it comes to regulated infrastructure design, they're very intentional about that. And they have that startup mindset, but they also have the Brian Armstrong stability long term kind of view as well. So that's what I found digging into it. There's a lot of other areas that they could potentially pivot in, but I think it's a valuable sector to pivot in because that whole market needs. I did some research on Bank of America's. As you guys know, in the NFT world, is what we call the artists at London. So the private art London. So a lot of people have like Picassos and stuff, and they usually find a way to borrow against their Picassos. And that market, you can't create a market like that without a credit market. And the banks have to figure out a way around that. So if you take that thinking, and I'll post some information here just to get people to understand what I'm talking about, that when you have, say, RWA, and they're only doing lending and borrowing, right? You put the RWA, which is a real world asset, as a collateral. You borrow a loan to value ratio of 60% at maybe a discounted rate in that whatever. But you also have to think about the PEP side, the future side, people trying to bet on just, you know what I mean there? Like, it's like there are people that would create pools of assets and trade on the pool of assets, right? This is what we talk about when we say 2008. What caused 2008? It was the mortgage-backed securities, and this market is not going away. There's no way that's going to go away. It's part of the stock market. It's literally the bedrock of credit in America and globally. If you don't believe that, read some of the messages coming from Scott Bessent from yesterday from the Treasury and their support to Argentina. It's mind-blowing. And all you need to know is the three buckets. I spoke about this yesterday, that Michael Saylor was asked, why everything that you're building within MicroStrategy. Why all that? And he said, well, you have to think about it in three buckets. You have the fiat credit, right? You have the mortgage-backed security credit, and you have corporate credit, right? So if you understand these three, you understand what Michael Saylor is going for. He literally said it out loud. He said the bond market is 300 trillion. I just want 1% of it. How he gets there, I don't know. But he has a plan. He has a plan. He has a vision. He has where he wants to go. Do you think you get there? It's like Jeff Bezos saying, oh, I'm a bookstore. And then we ended up with Amazon, Prime, Amazon Web Services, Amazon.com, and everything else. So if you believe that, and if this guy doesn't win, you don't have time to hit on Michael Saylor because we'll have a much bigger problem, right? If FTX could bring us down to 15,000, if you're hoping and thinking that Michael Saylor is going to blow up, okay? The wisdom I would share with you is this. In the credit market, I don't remember, I think it was Paul J that said, if you owe the bank $100, it's your problem. If you owe the bank 100 million, it's the bank's problem, right? Because they'll call you in a room and say, okay, let's negotiate, okay? We know you can't pay the debt, but let's figure out a way to reduce the stress. How much can you pay, right? So Michael Saylor, you could hate him all you want. You could say, well, he's bad or all you want. But if you can't reason why and what he's going for, then you're missing the point. If he gets big enough, it will be like saying, okay, Michael Saylor with like 10,000 Bitcoin, that's Michael Saylor's problem. MicroStrategy with 1 million Bitcoin, that is the government's problem, the bank's problem, the bond market problem. In the bond market, they have bond shops, right? These bond shops literally do, you know what happened to Japan, right? The carry trade. They literally take I take $1 billion of money from the US, I wire it to Japan, I fly to Japan, and I swap the $1 billion into Japan bonds because they pay whatever, right? The rate is low. So, and then I turn around and I say, well, I have $1 billion worth of Japan bonds. The bonds are collateral. So I said, well, I'm going to borrow 900 and something million dollars, which is a loan to value. Usually they give them, I don't know, 50, 70%, whatever, right? So they borrow that money. You know why they're doing that? Somebody would say, why should I do that? Take my $1 billion from the US and take it to Japan. What am I going to do with that? Well, there is a market for it. The bond shops, they do this, right? And when you go to Japan, you now borrow because borrowing rate is low there. So you place the bond as collateral, you get fiat, which is dollars. You fly the fiat to the US and buy an Nvidia, or you buy Tesla, right? As long as Tesla is doing well, you're fine, right? You can pay down that debt and then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That is a market that exists today. So if you don't research what Michael Saylor is doing, like I own MSTR, right? But I'm also trying to scale into one of his products, some of the products that I call the yield max products, they're income generating products. I'm actually just moving some trapped money into it. It's been a struggle for me mentally, but it's a significant amount, and I don't want to just I have to do a lot of research before I make that move. But that's what's going on, guys. It's a big deal. I literally believe Michael Saylor. I'm not praying that he fails. In fact, if he wins this gamble, he's gonna be big. Okay, he's gonna be really big. So, and if you're betting that, then you want to own it. You want to own MSTR, because if you own it and the bet goes right, I don't know where the price is gonna go. I have no idea. But I think it's a good opportunity. It's a good trade. It's a good trade. Do you follow that ecosystem at all, Zach?
I'm not in there like you are. I just pretty much focus on MSTR, but I know there's a lot more there, and I've heard you reference some things, and I've looked at some things, and it's not to say I wouldn't. Just right now, I'm just kind of focused on MSTR.
Yeah. I think what I'm learning as I do the research on this is it's a new area and a new market that is popping up. And the way I explain that, and I think it's Michael Saylor likes to put this analogy out there that, hey, there's a rocket going up, the booster is going to separate. Everybody's looking at it and it looks scary, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, this is scary. Today, that is the market we have today. Volatility is bad. And I think he coined a term called volatility is vitality. So these products that are within that ecosystem, they're leveraging the volatility and literally paying people income, right? It's not everybody that wants to do real estate or, if you have some money, let's say you have $20,000, you're like, oh, it's either you go buy Tesla stock or you gamble it on pump fund. What do you want to do? You want to get rich slow? Okay. Maybe there's a dividend. Guys, there is $32 trillion of US household money in dividend paying stocks. I'm going to repeat it again. $32 trillion. Look this up. Tied up in dividend paying stocks. What MicroStrategy is inspiring with his talking points about volatility and vitality and harvesting volatility, it's like a airdrop farmer, or in crypto, people chasing yield, right? Because some of these yield max products, I mean, they don't own the original stock. But I've said this before. I said, if you believe in Bitcoin, then it's a wise bet to take a trade on MSTR. Why? Because MSTR pivoted away from fiat. They went like $250 million or something like that was their first buy in 2020. They literally swapped the fiat into Bitcoin. And that gamble has played out right because the data shows it. It's outperformed every single stock, from bonds to all the tech stocks. So MSTR has in their balance sheet Bitcoin. So that is the asset, which we call the underlying asset. And now there are smart operators looking at the correlation between Bitcoin and MSTR. And they're creating wrapped products to harvest the volatility through call options. If you don't need to understand what call options are, just go research it a little bit. But you don't need to worry about it because you're buying the wrapped asset that is leveraging that. And you'll be paid a dividend. And a lot of people are making a lot of money from it, right? It's not a permanent thing, but it's like if you're stuck and you're like, I need to get another job or on top of my job to generate income, but then you have money that is trapped. What do you do with the money? You put the money to use. The easiest way I can explain that is, say, buying a Tesla and then opting in because Tesla has like an app for the robo-taxis where Elon said you can lease your vehicle into the fleet. So when you get to the office, you work 8 hours a day. You're locked up, strapped on a chair in the office. The vehicle can be out there generating some income. That's it. So I think that's the easiest way I can explain this, to be like, think of it that way. Think of dividend paying stocks as that. You have money, you want to put the money to use, it'll generate some income, and you don't have to necessarily be there, right? You can still do your job, you can still be a dad, you can be a mom. You actually don't need the pain of like, I need to buy this real estate and I need to hire somebody to manage it. I need to pay insurance. If the plumbing blows up, I need to fix it. You're just putting that fixed money, and then you're promised what we call a yield, right? Which some of them pay weekly, some of them pay monthly. Guys, this is something that I have researched, and the more I learn about it, the more I see it as a new form of income. It's almost like in crypto, we have staking, right? Put your tokens in a staking pool, and they promise you, like, some people promise 10, 15%, right? Some people, whatever, 5, 6%. But you're not doing the work. The tokens get into, I think Cardano has this kind of figured out. They call them delegated staking providers or something like that. I think it's DSP, they call them. So you can literally, take your Cardano and then delegate it to a stake operator, and then they would do the validation and then pay you a yield. That's what this is. It's also income. It's working. It's called working, proof of work, right? But it's used within the proof of stake ecosystem, which is Ethereum. So I can explain this the way that I understand it, as being the option that if you're just sitting here stuck and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to bet all my money on pump fund, there's actually a better way to bet that money, right? And it's in the stock market. It's well regulated, right? So you have to first go read the prospectus, and these are like, it's like a white paper, right? Except this is like, there's oversight from the SEC, from the CFTC. There's laws, there's rules. If they steal your money, you can sue them. Okay. So that's what this is about. It's not like legal. It's not like some scary, like, there's risks, but you just have to learn about it. I see Crypto Val hands up.
I'm Tasco. I have a question for you. Have you ever been in the trenches?
I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years, 4 years ago. I
Was
still
it fun?
hang around though. I know the trenches. I know it very well. I don't bet on it too much, to be
Yeah, but
honest.
it's fun though.
No, it's fun, but it can be addictive though.
Right. I mean, I'm into everything. I'm into stock, ETF, crypto, I mean, I've been in crypto since 2018, but I've been on Crypto X this year, May 2025. I feel like I'm learning day by day, from you guys, I think that Crypto X that's the best thing that ever happened to me, to be honest. And in this bull cycle, I feel like I don't want to get wrecked. I feel like I have an opportunity to be profitable in all of my investments.
No, I agree. X is probably one of the secret hacks in the world. If you use it right, like, you can choose to tell the algos to direct you to drama. It will do that every single minute, and you will mess up your brain chasing that, because or you can also tell the algo to get you to quality information where you can learn, and then grow yourself, right? Some people are here, they're not growing, so, which is fine. It's a choice. So I like it seems like we kind of, I was in like 2018, I went through, like, that was my first ever crypto V chain. The only reason I got it was a friend of mine who said to me, you're in supply chain, you should get VeChain because they're doing whatever. So I looked into it and I bought it, and I went through it was literally an ERC token on Ethereum, right? Just like BNB in 2017. BNB was just an ERC token on on Ethereum, and then they eventually moved out and did their own thing and became their own blockchain. But that was my first, crypto. What I did was, I was in grad school. I was just, it's like I didn't take the time to learn about it. Right? I just didn't care. I was like, okay, I'll buy it. And then I remember I had to I didn't know what even X was, even though I had a Twitter account. Never used it. 0 followers, 0 nothing. And I started learning, meeting people. I attended a few conferences, and I saw that this is real. This is real. And I got really serious. So for 5 years solid, I can tell you, I've been putting in hours and hours of just studying, learning, hanging out. And I do it in between times I can, right? These days I've slowed it down. I used to be on all kinds of spaces. It was just because of the drive to learn. That's it. But now I'm very picky on, because if I'm not here, I'm listening to a podcast or, I'm stuck in a book or something, right? I take some certifications too in crypto. I highly recommend. There's a guy called Eric Edelman. He's kind of a financial expert in Wall Street. He was talking about ETFs before even anybody popular talked about it. That guy has been spot on. He has an educational platform. I have one certificate there. I'm looking to grow into it because they're building the new generation of what you call the Wall Street pension funds, mutual funds, hedge funds, VCs, but they're doing it like the crypto way. It's called the Digital Asset Council for Financial Professionals. So if you're a finance guy, you love finance, go look that up. Just Google Digital Asset Council for Financial Professionals, DAC. CFP, I think it's what's called. But the name is Eric Edelman. Look him up. You will love him. He loves Bitcoin. He loves Ethereum, everything, NFTs. That's why I love him. Because he's not one of these people that just one thing. And that's it. I believe in Bitcoin. I think everyone should have Bitcoin. But I also think that there is a lot of innovation in this space on the other side. And when you find some people that are intellectually inclined, you don't want to bet against them because that's how the world is built. It's built on knowledge. It's built on continuous learning. So I never believe in just getting stuck with one thing, believing it's one thing ever and ever. No. Michael Saylor did that, and it didn't turn out well for him. Because I heard him say once in a conference, literally said, there's ever only going to be one ETF, and that's Bitcoin. It's a digital commodity, and that's it. How did that last? Now we literally have even Dogecoin ETF, okay? So that can tell you whether somebody is an expert in something and telling you never. I never used never, right? I believe this space is going to grow expansively. And there's another website which is also interesting. I have what they call the certified Bitcoin professional, and they have a certified Ethereum professional, whatever that means. I mean, some of these things I already know them. I just take the credential just to. I don't know when I'm gonna ever need it, but I like to I just like to get access to the information. But it's called what is it? Crypto Consortium. Just look up Cryptocurrency Consortium. I think it's either .org or .com. Look them up. They're actually really interesting because they train you on digital asset smart contract security, auditing, because they think that in the future, some of them were former FBI agents. And the first time I ever heard of them was early 2021, 2022. and it was this guy called Coin Brio. You guys know him, right? The guy in London that does a lot of crypto stuff. He actually had a space where they talked about this. Some of them are still active FBI agents, but they came together and created what they would call like a form of security training for credentials that you could get, where it'll be like being on Replit, or when you get the certificate, you can be found online by, say, a business wants to start accepting stable coins, but they don't know their way around it. You have some expertise. They can reach out to you like LinkedIn or something and say, hey, we need your help to consult on how to accept Bitcoin or stablecoin. Because you have the credentials backing you, they can pay you to provide some guidelines and guidance for them to be able to do that. I think that's cool. But go look them up. Anybody who's interested. I have a lot of them in just my head. I just, some of them I forget. But I like stuff like that. Just educate yourself. It's empowering if you know, because you don't get fooled by somebody, you just keep going. So I love learning. That's just who I am as a person. There's literally nothing. I'm not selling nothing, zero. All it is that I love the crypto space, and I love to talk too. So if you need to hear that, I love to talk, but the space inspires me a lot. And that's just not coming from somebody who's like, I mean, I've done a little bit of my life, right? I've gone through school. I've put myself through school. I've given time. I've served time to the old system, right? The sad thing is a lot of people are getting laid off now because, as you can hear Jerome Powell saying, well, the job market, there's a lot of risk in there. That means somebody's losing their job, right? The question I always ask is, here we are, we have an economy where people literally want to work. But to save the economy, you have to literally get the jobless numbers up. But these are the same people you told to go to school, get a degree, accrue some debt, get a stable job, stay out of trouble. And they did all that. They
Story
did
of my
all that.
life.
And I don't care if you can pay the student debt. You got the debt, pay it, which is cool. Yeah, if you got the debt, pay it. But don't take my job and then pump the CEO's salary and bonuses, right? That the stock price goes to the roof, and none of the employees own the stock, right? But then you say, well, Bitcoin is a scam, crypto is a scam, but it's the only thing that I can buy easily. And I can buy it at the bottom. But you're telling me it's irrelevant, it's a scam, there's nothing good there. Blockchain is just a fancy name. That's what these people say. Yeah, you can only get somebody who didn't do the research to buy that garbage, right? I know it's different. I know it's different. It's not just a database, it's different. Because I've actually looked into it. So I'm not an expert, but I can tell you I've read into it. So if you tell me it's nothing and you're dismissing it, I'll stay away from you. That's what I would say. I just stay away from people like that, because you never learn anything from somebody like that. So yeah, I see CK up there, but I'm passionate about crypto. If you're here, I'm sure you're going to do very well. Just keep an open mind and just keep learning. Don't worry about how much you learn right now. Just keep stacking, and you'll be fine. There's a book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. There's a portion of the book he told a story about Joe Flom. Joe Flom was learning like litigation, went to law school in New York, learning litigation when litigation wasn't a thing, right? Literally, corporate America, it used to be, if we need to take over this company, we're just going to take it, hostile takeover. And he came out of the school with a law degree, and what he practiced in school was not the norm. And then in 1976 or something like that, a lot changed in the corporate America environment. And all of a sudden, whatever he learned became so valuable. He ended up with like, I forgot the law firm in New York City. It's probably one of the most premier law firm. Look him up. His name is Joe Flom. It's a very interesting story. I always use this as a reference because crypto is so new. A lot of us here learning it right now. We are the Joe Floms, right? Michael Gladwell said that he was putting in his 10,000 hours. And whenever the opportunity arrived, he was already prepared. So sometimes you don't need to make money. If you have a job and you can keep your family, don't get too desperate. Choose to learn first, and then you can use the learning to earn at some point. That's just my way. That's what I do. I don't, I'm not doing this for any money or none of that. Zero. I'm invested in it. I don't need to create a project because there's enough projects for me to buy, and that's all I do. That's it. Go ahead, CK.
Man, Mutasco, shout out to you, bro. And shout out to Zach. Shout out to the Crypto Breakfast Club. I'm over here, as we all are, probably following multiple threads, juggling multiple things out here. And I just want to say shout out to Zach, like the energy and just the general, like, hey, we can crowdsource our collective intelligence and win together. And we may not like all of the mechanisms and the ways that all this capital is moving, but there are threads of freedom therein. And shout out to, what you're saying there, Mutasco, that, there are information asymmetries that we can exploit, and first we really have to understand what is the game we're playing? Who are the players? What are the available move sets that I have? Do I have the ability to expand them? Like in chess, right? The knight has a certain move set, the bishop, the queen. And yeah, man. So just in general, I just, shout out to the Crypto Breakfast Club. Shout out to folks that are out there winning with, these bright spots in the market. Aster, I think I just saw the Crypto Breakfast Club make an interesting post saying, where did you buy your Aster? That's a good question for folks that do want to participate. Check that out. I personally don't hold any, but, if capital's moving, it is what it is. And from the peripheral sort of take, it looks like they're doing a speculative attack on like Hyperliquid, which is kind of cool, with CZ level bags, which really means infinite liquidity. And if there's an emphasis on product, I think Mutasco was maybe mentioning some of these dark pools, some of the privacy that'll, that basically when we have like James Wynn saying, I've got, $3 million long, at 108,000 Bitcoin or whatever, right? Then the market goes, oh yeah, we see you right here on the order book. Hey, you want to get you 12 want to go like dust this guy and get this liquidity? Sweet, and then bang, right? So that's one of the reasons why with this Aster project, by having that privacy layer there, you can prevent some of that collusion that's kind of unhealthy in the markets. Sorry, Crypto Breakfast Club. I saw that you unmuted your mic. Did you want to say something, bro?
No, all good, brother. My bad.
Oh, sweet.
No,
yeah, man. So,
keep cooking, man.
Yeah. So as far as Aster, share the information for folks that are into it, and again, it looks like it's a competitor for Hyperliquid that might have some privacy options. And also, it's great to have more folks in the market, right? If there's one player that's offering a really, an awesome product, but if they're the only one, right, they can put some crazy premiums on there. So just in healthy market competition, when you look at the intersection of those value flows, if Aster is offering a compelling alternative to Hyperliquid, right? Well, then Hyperliquid says, okay, well, how can we become better? Can we incorporate privacy? Can we make our fee environment better and all these things? So shout out to folks making money. And yeah, man, to me, it's human freedom and maximizing human liberty. And the more folks around the world that we can educate and empower with knowledge, scientia potentia est, knowledge is power, then we basically create this collective network that supports each other. So for instance, what if I'm really good at doing small businesses and I've got a little coffee shop somewhere in Ohio that nets me around $185,000 a year after expenses, and I got another little property out in Florida that's rolling about 320,000, couple of apartments maybe, and then I've got a little printing company up in New York. And if I start locking all of this value into Litecoin, let's say, there's only 84 million of them. And right now you can get 1 unit of Litecoin. Now, for every 1 Bitcoin, there are 4 Litecoin. So with me and my little constellation of small businesses here in America, maybe I start going, you know what? I'm going to lock all that profit into Litecoin because I know that I'm then also enriching everyone in that network. And as other folks start going, hey, you know what? 84 million units, universal state of economic fair play, just like Bitcoin, I'm in, And so when we look at those arbitrages, in the same way that Hyperliquid and Aster together are actually can be the sum that, collectively they're more than their individual, the sum is greater than the parts kind of situation, or like force multipliers. In a similar way, if Bitcoin is alone, it is far more open to speculative attack. I mean, for instance, in the last, I think it was now about 50 something days ago, 8 consecutive blocks were mined by a single entity on the Bitcoin network. So that means the economic incentives for participants, in this case, the mining validator set, said, you know what, I'm going to filter these transactions. Maybe I disagree with that. So my node, my mining equipment, whatever, it's not going to agree with you. So in a low volume environment, one player happened to have enough hash power and was willing to expend the energy to get whatever the blocks were offering. And so boom, 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 8 in a row. Now, if Bitcoin's alone, that can be a problem. But what do we have with Litecoin, for instance, and Maya Protocol, 4Chain, 4Swap, LeoDex, Houdini Swap, Silent Swap? I mean, all these really cool privacy decentralized exchanges that give us the same atomic swap sort of capability that we can enjoy on the Coinbases and Binance, which is to say, what if I want to go from, my Solana position and I go, you know what? I don't like that this is an infinite supply. I don't like that the ledger is more than 400 terabytes and growing rapidly. So you know what? I'm going to migrate some of my $1 million Solana position into Bitcoin because I'm not going to use it. As Mutaska was saying, I think has been discussed. It's really important to learn the art of making your money make you money. As Warren Buffett said, if